After 637 days, Wheaton football is back at McCulley Stadium. Alongside Tim March, I'm Rusty Lindsay. We are very happy to have you for the first kickoff of the 2021 season. And Tim, there was a lot of disappointment around the last time we saw this team walk off this field. It has had almost 2 years to manifest itself. But this is a very different team than the one that, despite having a lot of common personnel from the last time we saw Wheaton, this is a very different team, a very different circumstance than any kind of offseason, but one that certainly brings the high hopes that you would expect coming off a quarterfinal run, a 12-1 season. And this is a team that has 4 first-place votes in the preseason top 25, 2 picks to win the national title from the national perspective when you look at the D3 football preseason preview. This is some high water for Wheaton to enter the season on.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that it's going to be real fun to see how they come out. They have been waiting. The expectations have never been higher, and we've got a new coach. We've got it's going to be super fun to watch these guys play. I can't wait. I can't imagine how they're feeling with all of the expectations, all of the ups and downs of the last 2 years. They are. I wouldn't be surprised if we had a false start to start the game.
Talking to Jesse Scott earlier this week, the joke when he took the job and was recruiting that first wave of recruits following the 2019 season was, we think we have a team that's good enough. A year from now, I can tell you that I'm still an undefeated head coach. He is still an undefeated head coach. He's also a winless head coach as we enter play today. But after 2 years, we finally get to see the next era of Wheaton football after Mike Swider's retirement following the 2019 season. And it is worth noting that at halftime today, Mike Swider will be inducted into the Wheaton Athletics Hall of Honor. We will carry that ceremony for you live here, so stick with us at halftime, and then we will be joined in the booth at the beginning of the second half by Coach Swider. But this is a whole different era, and I think that's probably an important way to cleanse the palate after the way that last season, the last season, 2019, ended, that this is a fresh start for these guys. And Jesse has talked about that long layoff of not having a season last year really let them get back to basics. And you got to build with the young group that you had coming in that was on campus last year, and then you bring back a ton of returners, 5th year, 6th year starters. You got guys coming back and going into getting into grad school just so that they can play that last season. When you look at guys like Adam Tarini and Spencer Peterson, so this is an interesting group, and one that has a whole lot of talent and a whole lot of experience that'll be headlining things today.
Yeah, and I think from Jesse's perspective, from Coach Scott's perspective, maybe the only positive of a no COVID season was the ability for him to kind of establish himself as a coach and the kind of culture that he wanted within the program. Thankfully for him, it was a great culture of Wheaton football that he has a great team, but he got to kind of step into it as himself for the last 18 months. So, it'll be interesting to see how he inserts himself on game day, if there's some differences we see from either play calling or clock management or whatever it might be. But if there's any positive, it might be that Jesse's had some time to figure out who he is in this program.
Yeah, it was interesting talking to Jesse. He said that scrimmage last week against Olivet Nazarene, which, worth noting, Olivet Nazarene 10th in the preseason NAIA poll, so that's no slouch in a scrimmage that Wheaton won. He said a lot of the nerves kind of came out in that scrimmage because they ran at everything in game day scenarios as far as prep and the way you went about the game. So he feels like those pregame nerves that first time walking out there, he might have gotten out of the way, which would be big. The other element that comes with that is a new offensive coordinator now with Taylor Graham, and Taylor did some play calling last year. And so there is some experience there, but now the game plan is his. So what does that look like when you've got a quarterback calling plays as opposed to an offensive lineman calling plays?
Yeah, I think we talked a lot about this in 2019 and a little bit in 2018. How we felt that when Taylor came on, especially in the passing game coordinator the last few years, that he did a really good job of complementing what Jesse wanted to do. And it'll be interesting to see how now that he's got the keys, now that he's running the offense, to see how that plays out over a full season.
The defense will likely take the headlines coming into this because they return the monsters up front, led by the reigning National Defensive Player of the Year in Dallas McCray. But that defensive line is full of creatures. You've got Jake Holliday back, a preseason All-American. You got River Schindeldecker back, an All-Region guy. Braden Anthony's a D1 transfer from Dayton. Not only that, then you've got your linebacker core back. All three of them, all conference, all region, all American caliber candidates. I think Daniel Herbert was probably on pace to be that All-American before he got hurt in the middle of the season in 2019. But that's the athlete that Wheaton really missed in the game plan against St. John's. Is Daniel Herbert is a sideline-to-sideline freak athlete at linebacker. He's a defensive back with a linebacker's body, and he really lets those other linebackers just go to work in the run game.
Yeah, especially on that weak side, he really was all over the place, and that was guy that CJ used to talk about, Coach talked about. It's great to have him back, and also it helps in the secondary too, because that allows Kamicha to get back more to his natural position in the secondary.
Yeah, Luke Kamicha moving back to the starting strong safety spot. That will be the question mark for this defense. Is you have an unproven secondary, two corners that haven't started before. Caleb Egbert's seen some starting time, seen some quality backup time, but you've got two safeties and it also haven't started much in that position. That will be the question mark of this defense, but one that certainly has the foundation to build into a very solid part of this defense. Just as they get those reps, they just haven't had those reps together.
I remember as a freshman.
Anthem. No, not you. Go, Gabriel.
Yeah, we're going to send things down real quickly for the national anthem.
Play it.
Home team, the football's heads, the star's tails. That's tails and heads. Your call. He says tails. It is tails. Northwestern, you want to toss? Okay, Northwestern has won the toss. They deferred. You guys are going to receive? Which one would you guys like to defend? All right, put your back over. Wheaton will receive.
So Northwestern wins the toss. They defer to the second half. Wheaton's going to take the football first, which gives us the perfect segue to talk about this Wheaton offense, which is going to be in the familiar hands of Luke Anthony, who had one heck of a season in his debut year in the orange and blue. Threw for almost 3,000 yards, but most impressively, 35 touchdowns against only 4 interceptions. Was pretty spectacular in the second half against St. John's. Really, the bigger the moment for him, he seemed to rise to meet the occasion, especially you think about that North Central game where the offense was just on point all game long. And this is an offense with a ton of weapons. Adam Torini is back after a 1,000-yard receiving season. You've got your tight ends and Spencer Peterson and Burt McJunkin, both experienced guys. So this is an offense that Taylor Graham talked about. He really liked the attitude of this offense because he said we don't have egos. As long as we can get the ball spread around enough, this is a group that wants each other to have success.
Yeah, and as you look at the wide receiver and running back positions, that's really where the only question marks are for this offense. And similar with the secondary, if you look at who's going to be playing, I remember when I came in as a freshman many moons ago, Coach Swider said you don't win CCIW championships with freshmen and sophomore. If you look across this offensive line, the wide receiver group and running back group, you don't see an underclassman anywhere on the two deep. So you've got guys who have been waiting. They paid their dues. They've played special teams. They've been hungry. They've been working hard for the last 2 years, and now it's their opportunity. A guy like Matthew Tucker, who's seen some action, he's now a starter at wide receiver, and same in the backfield. You got a junior Giovanni Weeks, a running back. It'll be fun to see these guys play.
Nate Magnuson and the aforementioned Matthew Tucker are back as we get set to go after almost 2 years. Wheaton football is back at McCulley Stadium. Blake Mitchell will do the kicking right to left for the Eagles, and we are underway on a beautiful afternoon. Going to be a kick taken on the ground by Magnuson up the left hash, angling to the right side, some blocking ahead, and he will split a pair of tacklers to the 35-yard line, where we will see the Wheaton offense take the field for the first time this year, and the first time under new head coach Jesse Scott.
I don't know. I just got this feeling right now, Rusty. I feel like Taylor's going to take a shot right here, right at the beginning.
The interesting thing is for Northwestern, do you expect how much do you prepare for the same offense, knowing it's a different offensive coordinator? And Wheaton's going to come out with an empty backfield. Trips to the left side, Tarini isolated to the right side. Yannick Kakamba, the junior defensive back, will look like he's in man coverage. Single high safety is Jacob Emley as the Eagles come out with 3 down linemen, a 3-4 base defense as Anthony looks over it out of the shotgun. In motion, play action fake. Anthony over the middle. He's got the tight end Bert McJunkin across midfield and down to the Eagle 41-yard line. So you were right, Tim. It's just a vertical look, and they get the guy right over the linebackers. That's an easy-looking pitch and catch for Luke Anthony.
Absolutely. Solid job by the offensive line to give Luke some time to throw. They had a couple guys open. Tarini down the sideline was open as well.
Giovanni Weeks, the starting running back, and Chaz Black has very high praise for him. He says he's a guy who takes every yard personally when he gets the football, and he will line up in the backfield. The junior out of Kent City, Michigan, sitting at 6 foot 205. Luke Anthony goes under center, and Spencer Peterson took a step across the line of scrimmage. That's going to be a false start against the Thunder, and Tim, you kind of anticipated that.
Understandable. You'd hope to not see it from a 6-year guy, but you know what? We'll give him a pass this early in the season.
The starters for the Eagles across the front, Jeffrey Marvichka, the defensive end, the sophomore, the senior, the guy in the middle, number 32, George Obitz. He'll be the focal point of that defensive line, 2-time all-conference defensive tackle. Gavin Bowser, the other defensive end, a junior. Give to Weeks straight ahead. He will bounce back to around the original line of scrimmage. Weeks a big guy, but he's also a former state champion sprinter in the 200 meters, so he has that open field speed if they can break him. But you've also got some speed on the outside. Matthew Tucker is a guy that gives you another speed threat with Tarini, and now we're going to see them use Spencer Peterson, that big target at 6'6", bulked all the way up to 250 to play tight end this year, and he split to the right side. That's a matchup problem for a lot of corners that we're going to see this year. Anthony out of the gun with Weeks on 2nd and 10. And he is back to pass, swinging into the flat for Weeks. Weeks makes the catch, steps inside a tackle, will be inside the 35-yard line and down to almost the 34, sets up a 3rd and 2 on an easy pitch and catch.
Yeah, that's a nice look there. They're just trying to, it's almost like a extended handoff there. They're just trying to get Weeks on the outside. That's a high percentage play. He makes the first guy miss and sets it up in 3rd manageable.
We mentioned Kabamba, the corner. The other corner, is Luke Malamisaro, the sophomore out of Cambridge, Asante, Minnesota. Safeties Noah Cowenhoven and Emley, the strong safety. I formation look. Hibben in the backfield here on 3rd and 2. He will lead the offset I. Give us to Weeks behind Hibben. Weeks has a first down and more inside the 20. Barreling across the 20. That's the 20-yard line. Down to the 19. And Jake Hibben fired up to get back in the backfield. We saw that package a lot, especially down the stretch against St. John's, and they're going to use him as a weapon, both as a backfield blocker, and you're probably going to see him in those short yardage situations like we did last season.
Absolutely. I think what we're seeing here to start is just Wheaton's going to have such an advantage up front. There are guys that are, they've got 50 guys on the 50 pounds on the guys across from them.
Trips left, split to the right side is Sam Singleton, the running back. He goes in motion, sets up left hip, and I think you're going to get this on Northwestern as McGill reacted to the defensive end coming across, and it will be a free 5 yards for the Thunder, judging by the call from the line judge. Kevin Kroniak on the far side. The guilty party was the outside linebacker Brad Kalinsky.
How'd you like to be Brad Kalinsky 5'8", 175, having to set the edge on the last play against Hibben.
Hibben has slimmed down this year, lost about 15 pounds from the 2019 season. 6'0", 270 in the middle. They're showing blitz. They will hand off to Weeks on the right side. Weeks with a burst, 10, and he almost breaks loose for the touchdown. He's going to be brought down at the 6-yard line by Kabamba. As we round out the starters for Northwestern, the linebacking core, their most experienced group, Noah Nightingale, a senior and all-conference UMAC linebacker in 2018. Zane Schleybaugh, a junior out of Rapid City, South Dakota, and Damon Clapper, a converted running back. He will be the fourth linebacker out of this 3-4 look. So it's 1st and goal to go from the 6. First drive of the season for the Thunder, trying to punch it in early here. Singleton is in the backfield, 4 wide receivers. Wheaton has spread the field a lot on this drive. Singleton in motion to the flat. They're going to dump it off to him. Tries to cut it back, and a nice play on the outside. Peterson unable to set that edge that let him get to the pylon, and it will be no gain for Singleton.
Yeah, you'd really like to. I mean, that's a good job by Spencer to lay off and not get a block in the back, but you'd like to see a little bit better job by the 2 wide receivers out there stalking.
Yeah, Malamisro did a nice job ducking under the block and able to force Singleton back inside. So 2nd and goal, they'll give him a yard. And here is Hibben in the backfield leading Geo Weeks. I think Wheaton's missing a guy here. They're signaling to the sideline. Yeah, they want a double tight end look to the left. So it's going to be McJunkin outside of Peterson to the left of the left tackle McGill with Hibben right behind him. I don't know that there's a ton of secrets where the ball's going right now. They will pitch sweep to Weeks. Weeks, boy, they wash out the outside, but he's going to be brought down short of the goal line. Flag thrown from the middle of the field at the 5-yard line in the area of holding. I think Paul Fay might be your guilty party here.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 41.
Yeah, Gavin Bowser called for the penalty on the defensive face mask, and that's going to put the ball at the 1-yard line.
It's a new look. We hadn't seen that out of their jumbo package from Wheaton, the toss into the boundary. Showing some new plays. That's one thing, how much of that's in the game plan too, trying to put some stuff on tape for North Central to prepare for, as that's the 2nd game of the season for Wheaton this year.
Yeah, that game coming in 2 weeks as Wheaton gets to 1 game in, gets a bye week, and then the battle for the bell. Hand off to Weeks. He will skip inside the left tackle, and he is into the end zone.
There we go.
For the Wheaton touchdown. They take the opening drive 65 yards and punch it in less than 5 minutes. An impressive drive from the Thunder to open the game.
Nice to see Wheaton open up, do what they were supposed to do. They had just one mental mistake on a pre-snap penalty, but other than that, they looked very sharp on their first drive of the 2021 season.
Tommy Gallagher to do the kicking for the Thunder out of the hold of John Bickle. Good snap, good hold, and a good kick. And Wheaton on the board first, 7-0.
One of the byproducts of all these 5th and 6th year guys is I'm trying to read the roster here, Rusty, and it's like I've never seen such a big roster or such small font here.
Yeah, the roster is as big as it's ever been, and you look at your upperclassmen too. I think you can count about 45 seniors, so class balance is going to be an issue moving forward. But again, everybody has that extra year of eligibility coming off the COVID year, so there's the opportunity to balance that with extra years. But that, Tim, you talk about another unexpected byproduct of that is what you're going to see on special teams. You've got a lot of guys with a lot of experience who are able to now trickle down into special teams in years that they would probably be starting on defense or offense and unable to play that role.
I think that's part of the high expectations for Wheaton this year. When in years past we've always been very solid on the top 22, but the depth at times has been lacking. This team is incredibly deep.
Gallagher to kick, and this will be a low end-over-end kick. Keegan James, the running back, will take it running up at the 9-yard line, angling to the right side, and a great tackle. The first man down to face him is Steven Watson, the defensive back, also a member of the Thunder wrestling team, and Watson makes the tackle where they will mark it at the 17-yard line, it looks like. And again, anytime you're pinning a kickoff inside the 20, that is a special teams win. And we will have to figure out some things for the Northwestern offense because they have the same guy listed as the starter at left guard and right tackle. That's Dylan Brouillard, and he's going to start at left guard. They will send 4 wide receivers, split 2 and 2. Jeremy Staten, the running back in the backfield. On the right hip of the quarterback, Ryan Flanagan, a senior out of River Falls, Wisconsin. He will look to the right side to pass. Too high, picked off, and that's going to be a touchdown. Caleb Egbert. Boy, we talked about the defensive backs being a question mark, and they're going to answer the bell immediately.
Absolutely.
Just trying to get a quick hitter into the slot, too high, and that's an easy pick and run for Caleb Egbert.
I think we might have to get used to seeing this. There are going to be games, I think, where the Wheaton defense is going to be fighting pretty tough to outscore their opponent.
And they take the early lead over the Eagles now. Extra point unit right back on there, and they are 2 for 2 in conversions. And you can't draw up a better start. And you know, talking to Jesse Scott during the week, it's Jesse, there's got to be a little bit of frustration just wanting to cleanse the palate from 2019, even though there's been a layoff. And he said, we kind of got that out of the way, obviously, against Olivet Nazarene. But there's probably going to be some of those senior guys that do want that. And you can see it early. They want to prove a point that this team is who people think they are. And so far, so good. Up 14-0 at less than 5 minutes in. Almost a full slate of CCW action. We'll get you some scores here following the kickoff. Keegan James is back with what listed Caleb Sieben. That's Bo Burke back with James. As Gallagher tees it up from just inside the right hash. Kicking into what wind there is today, and he will keep this one low again, and this is just going to be a fair catch from James. So they learned a lesson the first time. They take advantage of the rule change from a couple years ago, and the fair catch will bring that out to the 25 to start another possession for the Eagles.
That was a great play by Caleb to make the pick, take it back to the house, but their slot receiver was open. That was a mistake by the quarterback. They just ran a quick hitter and maybe a little first snap jitters.
Elsewhere around the CCW, Augustana off to a strong start, 31-7 at Rhodes. Milliken trailing Greenville 20-7 late, about midway through the second quarter. Chicago off to a 7-0 start over Wash U. Other games, Bethel at North Park, Elmhurst at River Falls. We'll get you a couple more as they roll to the right side into the flat. It's completed. Great tackle by Herber, and a flag comes down at the line of scrimmage. Also going to have Carthage at Whitewater, and what's going to be an interesting test for the Redmen going on the road. And then you will have Illinois Wesleyan at home as well. We'll get you that when that kicks off against Franklin at 1:30.
And it's really tough to have a strong opinion one way or the other on how these conference games are going to go early in the season.
Yeah, Wheaton and North Central choosing not to play games in the spring, and then you had a mixed bag of teams playing anywhere from probably 2 to 4 games across the conference. I know Milliken was a team that felt pretty good about what they accomplished in the spring, but obviously trailing early at Greenville, not the start they thought they would have to this season.
Greenville picked one spot ahead of this Northwestern team in the conference standings.
So Flanagan out of the gun on 1st and 20 following a hold, sends the tight end in motion to the right side. Takes the snap, will hand off straight ahead, and the line collapses. He will break free for maybe a yard. As you see it again, just running right at McCray, who gets in straight into the backfield and just over-pursued it. Dallas McCray, who had a monster year in 2019, 18.5 tackles for loss, including 8.5 sacks. Those are huge numbers for a defensive tackle. As they will move Staten to the left hip now, 2nd and 18 from the 17, less than 6 minutes in here in the season opening. Play fake, he's going to be throwing into the right side. That pass is complete, and a nice move made. They're going to get a first down. That's Michael Bostrom, who makes the catch, makes the tackler miss, and gets across the chains, across the 35 to the 36.
Yeah, as you see here on the replay, nice job by the running back to step up and actually delay Dallas. That's a nice route, outbreaking route to number 12, Bostrom. You got to make that play, though, if you're the DB. You've got to make that tackle to keep it to 3rd and short instead of 1st and 10.
Brock Doring, the starting left tackle. Brouillard, the starting left guard. Parker Schmidgall, the starting center. Sam Glaubitz, a 2-time all-conference right guard. As here's a handoff again. Going to be brought down at the line of scrimmage. Starting at right tackle for the Eagles today going to be Jack Megason, number 62.
I think what will be interesting to see from C.J. Nightingale, defensive coordinator, as at the beginning of the season, is how much does he rely on that front 4, and really that front 7, to stop the run. To see how much zone they play, to see how aggressive he is. They've been quite aggressive in years past, but so far we've seen a pretty vanilla defense.
Yeah, and C.J. had a tremendous first year as defensive coordinator. Wheaton showing blitz up the middle. Lee comes. They will throw it into the flat to Staten, and boy, Ryan Schwartz all over it. Breaking from the middle of the field, gets to the flat and makes the tackle. A loss of 4, and that'll bring up 3rd and long.
I think that's one thing we saw a lot last year. We saw Wyatt Lee blitzing a ton, whether it was off the edge or inside in that B gap. He was coming often, and he came again on that play, and it's just tough. It's tough when you've got guys that are in the backfield right as the ball snapped. It gives the quarterback no time to make decisions.
Single wide receiver to the right side. They'll walk up the running back tight to the line of scrimmage left. And you can see they're very aware of needing to protect the quarterback. Herber is showing blitz from the right side. He will back off. 3-man rush. They collapse the pocket. Flanagan moves to his right and is broken up by Gamicha on the sideline. And a flag down. That's right where the quarterback stepped up. So you wonder if they rode Schindeldecker too far past him. Sure enough, yeah, they declined the penalty. It'll be 4th down. You're going to see it right here on the outside. He just took Schindeldecker to the ground. That was Glaubitz. And a little different role for Schindeldecker, though still coming off the edge. He kind of moves over to that role that we're used to seeing Pat O'Connell in, where he will set the strong side. And then Braden Anthony stepping into that weak side defensive end role. So a little bit more of an attacking spot for Schindeldecker there. And he forces the guy off his mark. And this will be a punt for KJ Downey. Takes his time, low kick, going to bounce at the 38-yard line. Nice job by Tucker just to stop the roll and step out of bounds, just to minimize the yardage lost.
Yeah, that's a tough one as a punt returner. You really don't even have a chance to catch that. Nice job to at least stop that forward roll.
Yeah, really, the special teams game, and especially at the college level, has just become about catching the punt. With the rules allowing the immediate release, it's just about negating lost yardage more than it's gaining yardage. And Tucker did what he could there on a ball that didn't make it to him. So second possession for the Wheaton offense. They start from their own 25, just past the halfway mark in the first quarter. They took the first drive 65 yards. They come out with 2 tight ends, and they will hand off to Giovanni Weeks off the right tackle. Steps inside, has a seam, diving across the 35, and it looks like he's got enough to move the chains.
I'd like to see the hurdles come out there a little bit. Getting tripped up a couple times here by shoestring tackles. It's fun. The coaching staff does a great job of getting highlight tapes out of the guys who come in as freshmen. I remember Weeks' highlight tape just off almost every play. He was outrunning the high school defenses for touchdowns. I'm excited to see him play this year.
Really good cut block cutting across the linebacker there by Hibben that gave him that seam to get 11. And he stands single back in the backfield behind Luke Anthony. They will give it to him on the misdirection, and that's blown up in the backfield. Really strong play off the backside by Gavin Bowser, who just got into the backfield too fast on the counter. Got right past. That's Trevor Gabriel, the starting left guard, who had a reach block to get outside. So 2nd and 10 as they give him back to the original line of scrimmage. Front 5 for the Thunder. Gabe McGill, preseason 3rd-team All-American at left tackle. We mentioned Gabriel just now at left guard. Jake Hibben, also a preseason All-American at center. Paul Fay, the right guard. Graham Wall, the right tackle. Weeks in motion to the left side. They'll throw it into the flat. Completed, well blocked up. He's going to have a first down and more. Across midfield, there's the sprinter speed down to the Northwestern 40. And they're certainly onto something in the game plan here, just getting the running back out almost unmarked, and with the sprint speed, it's going to be hard for a middle linebacker to keep up with him into the flat.
Absolutely, and you can see when you have some physical guys out there on the outside. Look at that. They're still blocking 15 yards downfield.
Really good blocking job by Burt McJunkin there. And again, you've got two big physical tight ends that you can split all the way out. That really allows you to do some things on the edge. And you're seeing Wheaton deploy Peterson and McJunkin in that route. This is a pitch to Tucker that looked like it was going to be a pass. And Matthew Tucker just trying to get back, Jeremiah Tucker just trying to get back to the original line of scrimmage. That looked like they were kind of a pitch pass.
Absolutely, yeah.
But Northwestern all over it.
Nice job just to tuck it and minimize the losses there.
Yeah, you almost would. He's not a quarterback, so he could throw that into the sideline. But when you are a quarterback, you're used to that being a grounding penalty. So he just takes his medicine, a loss of 3. Nice play by Jeffrey Marvichka to blow that one up. And now Weeks to single back. They'll throw into the flat again, caught by Matthew Tucker. Matthew Tucker to the edge. Flags come flying from all over the place. Torini took out 2 guys there with 1 block, and I'm not sure he did it legally.
No, he did not.
So now the laundry piling up against the Thunder on this drive. Yeah, he just got his arm wrapped around the hip of that first guy who took out the second one. But you're seeing a lot of interesting looks there. That's a trip set where the middle guy becomes an inside blocker. So you're seeing a lot of interesting draw-ups here between Jesse Scott and Taylor Graham as they game plan this, but that'll back up to 2nd and 23 and send the ball back to Wheaton's side of midfield. As Anthony will go out of the gun now on 2nd and distance. 4.5 minutes left first quarter. Wheaton leading 14-0. Back to pass. They bring a delayed blitz. Throws over the middle. And Peterson got tripped up by, looked like the official as he came across the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, he ran into the umpire, Tom LaRocca. We saw
Nice play by Tom.
Great coverage by LaRocca. That's actually a play we saw a ton in that Illinois-Nebraska game last week. And you see some offenses starting to use that umpire almost as a defender when you run those crossing routes, and LaRocca was up to the coverage that time. So it'll be 3rd and 23.
Not sure you got many plays like this in the playbook here.
No, this would probably be one where you just set up John Bickle to do what he does best. Bickle, a master at pinning the ball deep in the opponent territory. They drop off. Delayed 4-man rush. It's picked up by Weeks across the middle. Has a man in the window. Complete. What a ball from Anthony. And a strong catch by Matthew Tucker to hold on for the first down at the 27-yard line.
Great ball by Luke right there. Stands strong. Real nice throw. Right down the seam to Tucker.
Knew he was going to take a hit and held on against the hit coming from Noah Cowhoven. And a really good pickup from Giovanni Weeks to pick up that 4th blitzer. And it'll be 1st and 10 down at the Eagle 27-yard line. Wheaton trying to score on its 2nd possession of the game. Shotgun look again with Weeks on the left hip of Anthony. Roll it to the right. It's a quick hitter from the inside. And it is completed. We're used to that quick hitter to number 11. We've seen it a lot, but it's no longer Philip Nichols. That's McNeil Stout who makes the catch for no gain.
This Northwestern defense has done a good job of being very aggressive. They're coming downhill quickly, especially into the flat, trying to tackle these running backs and quick hitters to the wide receivers. It'll be interesting to see what the counter is from Wheaton.
Coming on the road against the top 5 opponent, really nothing to lose. And the Eagles attacking here on their 2nd time out on defense. 2nd and 10. They will give on the delay to Singleton. Has a crease up the middle. Steps inside the 15-yard line. Down to the 13. And Sam Singleton's that kind of shifty back. He put your foot in the ground, get side to side a little bit, has some wiggle to him. A smaller back, and it's a nice change-up combination between him and Giovanni Weeks.
Yeah.
So 1st and 10 down to the 13-yard line. Northwestern missed an opportunity to get off the field on 3rd and 23. Wheaton trying to make them pay. Terrell Brown outside of McJunkin right. Torini outside of Peterson on the left side of the line. Singleton again on the counter. Back to the near side. Inside. 10, 5, touchdown Thunder. What a cut from Sam Singleton.
You know, that's a great play right there by Singleton, but well designed as well to run that counter back again to the near side. He wasn't touched. He had to make one guy miss at the second level. He did, and that's a touchdown.
He left that defender to pick up his shorts with that cut right around the 10-yard line. And the Wheaton running game in rhythm to open the season. Kick is good from Gallagher, and it is 21-0 Thunder. We can't ask for a better start for the Thunder. Offense in rhythm. Defense has put points on the board. And it's all Wheaton playing complementary football to open the season. 14-0, Whitewater leading Carthage in the first quarter. That game being played at Whitewater, one of two CCIW Wyatt crossovers going on this week. Season opening and closing with a crossover between those two conferences, as the conference is announcing a joint bowl game to be held at the end of the year. 14-7, Chicago leading Wash U. 20-14, Greenville leading Milliken as the Big Blue battling back on the road in that one. 2.5 minutes left in the first half. Gallagher high end over end, and a fair catch again. Made at the 12, but it'll bring it out to the 25. James learned his lesson the first time. I think that was maybe one of the best surprises of the 2019 season was how strong Wheaton's coverage units had been, and we kind of remarked throughout the season that we were starting to see that depth, that speed depth pick up within the program, where that had really become a strong suit, and it's happening again on the opening kickoff, where they were able to hold them inside the 20-yard line, a return of only 8 yards on that opening return. 1st and 10 for the Eagles from their own 25 as they come out for the third time. 1 turnover, 1 punt. As Flanagan out of the gun will move Karstensen to his right. Safeties walk down, single high, and they will hand it off up the middle. We haven't talked about the safeties yet for Wheaton. Caleb Grodelushin, and we talked about Gamicha moving back there, but Gamicha is the one who walked down prior to the snap, and then Grodelushin's the guy who's seen some time back there filling in, has never been the number one, but he's a guy who brings you a lot of snap experience and a ton of special teams experience. Both of those guys are strong, hard-hitting, run-tackling safeties. 2nd and 8 from the 27 for Flanagan. As Wheaton again, keeping us pretty vanilla on defense. They bring the first 4, handoff again, and it's well read. Holiday gets into the backfield, but both linebackers in the middle walking down and all over that play as it developed. Back to 3rd and 10 for the Eagles.
James on the carry again for Northwestern.
Yeah, you basically have 4 guys on the defensive line that need at least, if not double team, they need some help, and you can't do that to everybody. There you see Holiday in the backfield making a play. Just doesn't stay blocked.
You've got McCray, the National Player of the Year. Holiday's a preseason All-American. Schindeldecker was a second-team All-Conference guy. There's just a ton of talent. Preseason All-American and Ryan Schwartz, All-Conference in 2 different conferences for Wyatt Lee. Herber's been All-Conference. Just so much talent in that front 7, and they look like they're bringing it here, and they do. Pressure in the face of Flanagan. Throws a good ball, and it's completed up the sideline. What a ball.
What a ball.
To Caleb Sieben, just running a wheel out of the inside. Flanagan knew he was going to get hit, and he stood strong and delivered a perfect pass.
Yeah, that was a great ball. This is where the question mark has been here for Wheaton. That's not bad coverage. That's just a nice throw and catch. Interestingly, we're seeing on these 3rd down sub packages, they're moving Dallas out to the defensive end. Here you see it again. Well, now they've got him back inside. But on 3rd down, he was outside as a defensive end, and they brought pressure away from him.
They walk Egbert down to jam at the line of scrimmage. Motion comes into the slot on 1st and 10 for the Eagles from their own 39, what could be the last play of the first quarter. Handoff up the middle, wrapped up immediately. Loss of 2, I think it was Holiday again.
Yeah.
Actually, that's Dallas McCray as he's walking out of the mix there. Dallas McCray just bull rushing and bull hugging the running back, and Wheaton's first quarter of the season awfully good. 21-0 our score as we reach the end of 15 minutes at McCulley Stadium, and Jesse Scott has to feel pretty good. Probably got the butterflies gone by now, and now it's just football.
Yeah, you really can't be not too much to complain about if you're a Wheaton fan. The questions that we've had have been answered. So
it'll be 2nd and 12 when we restart. Elsewhere around the conference, Augustana 31-7 at halftime over Rhodes. Looking at the top 25 scores, some interesting games around the top 25 here in week 1. Mount Union 28-7 over number 20 Westminster. We mentioned Whitewater earlier. St. John's 7-0 lead over Aurora, and that's one of the interesting ones because Aurora almost took down St. John's in the first round of the playoffs last year. They opened the season this year, and then Aurora's going to head down the road next week to face the Cardinals of North Central in their first game of the season. And then so that's going to be the tune-up for North Central prior to the Bell game. So Aurora not ducking the big boys coming out, and that's probably going to prepare them pretty well, I would think, out of the NAC to represent in the postseason.
yeah, I think they were flying under the radar a little bit in 2019. That's definitely not going to be the case with the game they gave St. John's and a preseason All-American at quarterback.
Right. Yeah, that offense was high-flying and fun to watch, but I think you're right. The flags have been raised. They're preseason top 25, number 23 this year. Head up to Collegeville to start the year against the Johnnies. 2nd and 12. Wheaton brings pressure from the inside. It's an option. Well played by Braden Anthony there on the outside. Actually covered both guys and forced no gain. It'll be 3rd and 12.
Just a great job to make the quarterback make a decision.
Another non-conference opponent that Wheaton's pretty familiar with, Huntingdon, who they played in the postseason a couple years ago, tied at the end of the first quarter 14-14 against UW Oshkosh. The Titans going on the road, ranked preseason number 9, tied at 14. John Carroll and Washington and Jefferson, that's a top 25 matchup between 11 and 19. They are scoreless at the half. 3rd and 12 for the Eagles as Flanagan waits out of the gun. Wheaton does not look like they're bringing any extra pressure. They do not. Play fake across the middle. It's complete for another first down. Just found a window, and he finds his guy, the tight end, Isaac Lowe, just shy and across midfield for the first time today for the Eagles.
It's a nice job, again, by Flanagan to hang in there, deliver a good ball. That's really the only receiver that he could find. Picks up the first down. That's something that we didn't see. I mean, very rarely last year did we see 3rd and long conversions against this Wheaton defense.
Wheaton, one of the best in the country in 3rd down defense. They were 5th, allowing only 25% conversion. And I think that's probably a stat that took a hit against St. John's, as the Johnnies were able to have a ton of success on 3rd down. 1st and 10 from the Wheaton 49-yard line. James in the backfield. They will look to him in the flat. It's too high. Had him, but it wouldn't have been much as Egbert and Wyatt Lee in pursuit. A couple of top 25 games that have gone final. Chapman already with a win over Pacific, 35-23. Del Valle over Kane, 57-6. And Delaware Valley might be a team to watch out east this year, as they made a quarterfinal run last year with their season ending over in Naperville against the Cardinals in the quarterfinals.
Interestingly, there on first down, the Eagles trying to just hit something quick out of shotgun out to what Wheaton's been doing, and I think that they just don't feel quite as comfortable. They seem to be better when they got the 2 tight ends on the field, a little more power.
Isaac Lowe, the tight end, moves left to right. 2nd and 10, handoff to James, tries to cut it back across the center, but it's blown up in the middle. Dallas McCray, no surprise to see his helmet come off and make a tackle. Fortunately, this one much better ending than the one he had against Illinois Wesleyan when that happened a few years ago. 3rd and 7 remaining for the Eagles. McCray's going to have to come out for a play. So you're going to see Jaden Ferlita come in at that spot. And again, they keep Anthony standing up, so they're only showing the 3 down. We'll see what Flanagan can do here. They've got a couple of 3rd down conversions on this drive. Showing pressure, Wyatt Lee coming. They're also coming off the other edge, and it's incomplete. He had to get rid of it fast, and the wide receiver wasn't to his distance yet as that ball falls incomplete. Schindeldecker with the hurry, and that'll bring on the punt unit for the Eagles.
Brings up 4th and 8 for Northwestern.
Wheaton defense sticking with their guns there. That was a staple last year as well. When you got that 3rd and medium, that 3rd and 5 to 8, they didn't often sit back and let you have some time or maybe let the front 4 get to you. Oftentimes they were heating you up, trying to bring 1 or 2 linebackers in to make that quarterback make a quick decision.
97 the punter for the Eagles. They do not have a 97 listed on the game day roster. This is another short punt, and it takes a Wheaton bounce back across the 25-yard line. to the 26,
Down to the
where it is down there by Luke Nenow, the freshman out of Rochester, Minnesota. So Wheaton's offense 2 for 2 driving for scores, and they will come out at the 26. We have yet to see them really take the shot. They did have they went vertical on first down of the first play of the year. However, that was about a 25-yard gain. We might, with the success of the run game the last drive, you could see them try to take the lid off here early. They split Torini to the left side. 2 high safeties, though they're walked down a little closer. Tucker split to the right. They give on the misdirection to Weeks, and Weeks across the 30 to the 33. They put Hibben in the backfield again, and he sets the inside seam for a gain of 6. It's an interesting look when they put Hibben almost out to the tackle, because you're letting your tackle basically get upfield because you're trusting Jake Hibben to stop that outside rusher.
Exactly. And again, you could see the push that the front 5 of the Wheaton offensive line had there. It was 5 or 6 yards downfield, and the first Eagle in the picture to make a play was 29, Jacob Emily, the free safety.
Graham Wall, the right tackle there, getting to the second level. 2nd and 3 from the 33. Corners backing off a little bit. Hibben still offset in the backfield. Give again, same play the other direction. Weeks hits the seam, spins across the 40, and he will be stacked up at the 41. And Derek Johannick finishing that play with a strong block at the point of the tackle. He's the guy stepping in at center as Hibben steps into the backfield. Again, that's a point of trust. You've got to have that depth on the offensive line where you trust an All-American center to go into the backfield, and then you have a backup that you trust to get the snaps back to.
Absolutely.
So Hibben steps back over the ball on 1st and 10 from the 41-yard line, and the running game firing on all cylinders here early.
This seems like a shot play right here.
Luke Anthony checking to the sideline. Play fake, has time, protected against 4. You're right, they are looking vertical. They're going to have to come back. Anthony has time, has a comeback route, but throws it into the Northwestern bench. Really smart play by Anthony. Knew he didn't have it. That was an all-go route, and he just takes his medicine, gets 2nd and 10.
You know, if the color commentator in the box is thinking it's a shot play, I'm guessing the defensive coordinator probably thinks so too.
Taylor's probably been itching for that call, wanting to go vertical. They will bring in another defensive lineman now. They had add a little bit of a nickel package look to that, a smaller defensive end that dropped out into coverage at the pre-snap. 2nd and 10 as Anthony checks back in the gun, and Northwestern does not like the alignment that they see on the other side of the line, and they will call a timeout.
Timeout Northwestern.
Nice to see the fans back in the stands here. We got an impressive house, almost a full house here on the north side of McCauley Stadium.
Yeah, the 2nd game of a doubleheader here already. The women's soccer team already in action over at Joe Bean Stadium. They open their season. Also a new era, as Pete Felsky giving over the reins to Cesar Gomez. So they open the year with a 1-1 tie against Hanover. But strong expectations for the women's soccer team yet again this year. Similar to what we're seeing with this team. They return a ton of talent from a team that made a postseason run in 19.
Preseason ranked number 8. It was a hard-fought game. They had a couple chances late, but just couldn't quite punch one in overtime.
Wheaton volleyball already with a couple of wins under their belt as they're out in California this weekend. Wheaton men's soccer team, a 2-0 win over Hardin Simmons already. So some early success as these teams return to play here in the fall. Free play as the entire Northwestern defensive line came across.
Tell you what, though, I like the play by Hibben to snap the ball to Luke.
That's an experienced center.
Yeah.
When they come across the line, get the ball back to the quarterback.
Gets Wheaton back in front of the chains. 2nd and 5. I think if you're Wheaton, what you're really hoping to accomplish here the rest of the game is play a crisp game. No pre-snap penalties, no holding, no personal fouls. Kind of shake the rust off and figure out what your identity is going to be, especially on offense.
Torini motions to the right side, trips right again. This is what they were setting up when Northwestern burned the timeout. And they will throw. First down catch by Torini, and a strong tackle made by Yannick Kabamba, who called his name a couple times as he brings down Torini at the 46, but a first down.
Very impressive opening quarter here from the Thunder offensive line. We're seeing Luke with all day to throw.
They have diagnosed the blitz as well. We've seen a couple of run plays get blown up, but they've been the slow developing kind. But they have diagnosed where the pressure is coming from. They've slid together well. That's usually the concern early in the year when you have some new starters. As this is a pitch pass, trying to get to the edges. Tucker, this is going to be coming back. That's going to be an illegal block by McJunkin. And that's a popular theme that's developing in offenses across the country, that little pitch pass, because if you bobble it, it's an incomplete pass. If you get the timing wrong, there's really no downside to it. But McJunkin gets caught for the block in the back, and that'll back Wheaton up into first and long.
You know, I know you got to change up what you're doing, run it, if you're going to run power at them or if you're going to run outside, but it seems, never been a fan of that little pop, what did you call it, Rusty?
Just a little pitch pass.
Pitch pass.
As McJunkin stays on the field, motioning to the right side, they will hand off to Giovanni Weeks. Weeks explodes across midfield with more to go, barreling down inside the 35, and that's exactly what we talked about earlier. Chaz Black says he takes every yard personally. He has very high expectations for him this year, and he showed that explosion there, gets all 20 back and a couple more to move the chains down to the 34. He lowers the shoulder into the corner there, Malomisero, and just keeps on going.
Giovanni Weeks reminds me of my freshman year. I had tried to tackle an All-American Dan Price. Reminds me a lot of Dan Price.
They will give to him again on first down. Showed outside, back inside, and a nice tackle made. Might have stopped him from popping that one for a bigger gain. Nick Schultz brings him down from behind. There's a little bit of Shola Olateju to that run style, too. He's a bigger back, but he has that downhill, lower the shoulder, dirty yardage mentality that Shola had.
Which I would imagine if you're an offensive lineman, you'd love to see. You'd love to see your running back finishing those runs, falling forward.
They run that one right behind Paul Fay, and Paul Fay was a freshman in that postseason run in 19, but played a big role after a couple injuries and was big in that second half against St. John's. Anthony looking to go deep, has a man, and he overthrew him. Would have been a walk-in touchdown for Matt Tucker.
That's tough. That's a well-designed play, but that's not the easiest of throws in his zone coverage, trying to drop that in over the dropping linebacker and in front of the safety. Just sailed it a little bit.
Tucker's running out of the slot. Just a little slant corner. Would have been an easy walk-in touchdown for Tucker. Tucker also had a role in that St. John's game. They changed his number, put him in after his brother, Jeremiah Tucker, was out with injury, put him in his brother's number, lined him up as the Wildcat quarterback late in that game. Some creativity in the game plan down the stretch against the Johnnies. 3rd and a yard from the 25, and Singleton's in the backfield behind Hibben. They will give him the ball. He has the first down, bouncing, steps inside to the 20 and down to the 17-yard line.
Again, we're seeing just the physicality of this Wheaton front. Hibben didn't even have anybody to block.
Yeah, he gets all the way. Hibben's 10 yards downfield before he encounters the safety, Cowenhoven. 1st and 10 from the 17, inside 9 minutes left here before halftime. And again, stay with us at halftime. We're going to have the Hall of Honor induction ceremony of Mike Swider, and he will then join us in the booth after that. 1st and 10 from the 17. Anthony looking to his right. They pick up 4, and it sails that one too far, a step away from Spencer Peterson, who had a very, very small window between 3 defenders there.
Yeah, nicely defended there by the inside linebacker. Zone discipline right there. Spencer did a great job of not sitting down, of sliding. You'd maybe like to see him come a little bit harder to the sideline, but yeah, that was well defended, tough throw for Luke.
Spencer's first year as a full-time tight end. He got injured when he was still running quarterback snaps in the 19 season. But he bulks him up to 250 this year, and he will be your first tight end. Eagles showing blitz. They back off, hand off to Singleton. Singleton barreling into his own blockers, but he keeps the feet moving inside the 10, down to the 9, and a rugby scrum might have pushed him another yard to the 8. It'll be real close to a first down, but about a yard short. Here comes Johannick, so Hibben will step into the backfield. We have yet to see him carry.
That's actually a real nice job finding the hole, sensing where he needed to be. That actually was the right cut to run into the back of his own lineman right there. Probably got him an extra 3 yards.
3rd and 1 from the 8. A very physical drive this time for the Thunder. Anthony will give him on the misdirection, and that'll be close. And the second effort by Weeks, this will depend on the spot. I think he's half a yard short.
Having flashbacks right here. We got 4th and 1 inside the 10. This feels like Hibben territory.
Well, look at this. They're going to go immediately to the line. Northwestern scrambling. Quick snap. Give to Weeks. Weeks has the first down to the 5-yard line. Smart play by the Thunder. Northwestern taking their time here. And all of a sudden, the signal comes from the sideline. Rush the line up. Umpire gets out of the way. And the first down. And now Wheaton will take its time. Hibben on the left, was going to be on the left hip, but Anthony's going to go under center now with Singleton the lone back. Strong look from the Eagles as they crowd the line. Would expect them to bring pressure back up to their own goal line. Hibben motions to the right. And they will run behind him to Singleton, and he tries to hurdle a tackler, but it's not there. Nice play on the edge by Kalinsky, who got past Hibben and made the play. 2nd and goal from the 3.
Yeah, you start.
Hibben's
been great. It's a lot different blocking a guy who can who can jump around and then can't move.
Yeah, blocking that outside linebacker is a little different animal than the defensive tackle. And a nice play by Kalinsky to work around the big body of Hibben there. Hibben remains in the backfield, so Anthony will take the snap from Johannick, pitch to the left side for Singleton, behind the blocking, and that'll be into the end zone.
That's a really nice twist to this package that we're seeing from Wheaton, is to get the ball to the outside pretty quickly. Maybe I missed it last year, but I don't remember them doing that. You become pretty one-dimensional when you put your center in the backfield. It's nice to see them mix it up a little bit to get to the outside.
Well, a lot of times when he was in the backfield, you knew he was getting the ball. This time they have run entire sets away from him having the ball. So Gallagher 3 for 3 on extra points. Bickle gets the hold down. The extra point is good. 28-0 lead here for the Thunder. Looking at the game statistics so far, Northwestern being held to 3 first downs. They've gained 3 yards on 7 runs. 45 yards on 15 plays. Wheaton with 228 yards on 31 plays, averaging just shy of 7 yards per carry. 20 carries for 138 yards. Anthony is 7 of 11 for 90 yards. Flanagan right now 4 of 8 did throw the pick 6. He's got 42 yards with a long of 19. Anthony 7 of 11, 90 yards, a long of 26.
I will say this: Flanagan has, I feel like, played a pretty solid game. He's been under duress the entire game. That first throw notwithstanding, that was maybe clearly a mistake, but from there he's really done a good job of hanging in there.
Gallagher will pound this one deep, and unsurprisingly, the fair catch comes bobbled, but made it to 4. And for Flanagan, that's really been the weakness. You look at the 2019 season, he finished with a 50% completion rate. In the spring season of 2020, they played 2 games. He only completed 45.8% of his passes. So that's really been the issue, has been that accuracy. But when he's missed, like you said, because he's under duress, but he has put balls where his receivers can make plays on them, and he's kept it away from the defenders other than the interception on the first play of the game. And there are times where you just got to get hit that first time to remember what it's like, and then you kind of snap back into it.
And they've got a new coordinator this year as well, right?
Yes, they do. First year under Boomer Repke for the Eagles. 1st and 10 from the 25 out of the gun. They will hand off, looking to get to the edge, and it's well set. Schindeldecker will make the tackle along with Josh Shafley. An interesting resume for Boomer Repke, who comes to the Eagles after spending 3 years on Matt Campbell's staff at Iowa State. a former walk-on defensive back at USC, also a swimmer for the Trojans. So he's got some Power 5 experience that he brings into his first year as the offensive coordinator for Northwestern.
It's going to be tough to run to that strong side with Schindler. I mean, that was quite a job of setting the edge. Took a double team and put him 5 yards in the backfield.
2nd and 14 for Flanagan and company. Again, always hard to be behind the sticks. But this is where that Wheaton defense excels. They move Karstensen to the right. 4-man rush as he rolls to his right side, attacked by Holiday, and that'll be incomplete, pushed into the Wheaton sideline. Not a lot of room to complete it. He found a receiver in Sieben, but there's no room to get his foot down. 3rd and 14.
And again, that's just the front four getting pressure. Smart play call, sprint out. It's tough sprinting into the boundary like that, just a 2-man route.
Yeah, there's really not a lot of room there.
No, and Egbert was pressing on the corner to the boundary. There was really nowhere to throw that ball.
So Karstensen is going to be replaced by Michael Bostrom, so they'll bring in another wide receiver. They have 3 of them splitting the field. Bo Burke going to be slotted inside Sieben to the right side, Bostrom by himself to the left. They've actually pushed the guard Globitz out to right tackle. And Megason has moved inside to guard. They're bringing pressure. Flag came down. Wyatt Lee was over the line of scrimmage. Herbert's going to knock the ball out as he brings the quarterback down, but this is all going to be moot, as Wyatt Lee got a little too anxious getting across the line there.
Yeah, we've seen that a couple times so far. He's been cutting it close. This time they finally nabbed him.
Herbert excited he comes out of it with the ball, but that excitement's going to be tempered as he turns around and sees the call.
Heck of a job by Herbert, though, to get off a block, track the quarterback down, force a fumble, and recover it.
That's that speed that you missed from Daniel Herbert. Just
Absolutely.
So good pursuing side to side. You see him from the inside, gets cut off by McCray, gets around a block and knocks the ball loose. Herbert is a unique animal at linebacker. Had 31 tackles, a pair of pass breakups before he went down in week 5 to injury at North Park. His last full season was 2018. He was all conference, had 59 tackles, including 4.5 for loss. 3rd and 9 from the 26 after the free 5 yards. Motion into the flat to the running back. They're going to come inside screen to Sieben, and it's blown up. What a play by Schwartz to split a double team and make that tackle.
That's just the smarts of Ryan Schwartz, a very smart, savvy player to make that play. I like the play call. When you can't block up front, they tried a couple different quick hitters, roll in the pocket, run an inside screen to the wide receiver. Those are good play calls, but they're just kind of getting a little bit out-athleted right now.
Yeah, it's a really good look there. And Schmigdahl, the center, who's the guy who was supposed to block Schwartz, he just didn't attack him. So he kind of leaned back and let him get beat.
And surprisingly, that was one of the first times that Wheaton hasn't brought pressure on 3rd down. And it worked out well playing zone into that call.
So Tucker will set his heels at his own 40. They will get the punt away. This one is spiraling punt with some distance. Tucker makes the catch at the 35. Then makes the first guy miss. Breaks the other gunner. Has a seam, and he will be brought down at midfield. Finally making the tackle was Paul Berglund, the defensive lineman. And great field position for the Thunder. And Tim, you felt it last time. I'm going to call it this time. This feels like the area where you take the first down shot with a short field.
All right, let's see. I was actually just about to say, too, you maybe you get a chance to here with 4 minutes left to work maybe a little bit up-tempo on your not quite a 2-minute drive, but to see what you can do when you got to hurry yourself up.
Well, it's also an opportunity with all – you could see them try to go 2 for 1. And
Sure.
if you can get down the field
Sure.
in a hurry, set themselves up to get 2 possessions here where you can work that 2-minute offense a little bit.
This is one area where Jesse was a pretty solid. He did a great job of clock management. I remember playing NCAA football and video games against him in college. He was a very good play caller then. I'm sure he's better now.
Give is to Weeks on the counter. Weeks makes the guy miss across midfield. And that'll be down to the 47-yard line. So they aren't in the hurry. This looks like they're going to try to score as late in the half as they can.
C-Train down there.
Waving to his adoring fans.
Yes.
Round of applause for C-Train. 2nd and 6. Hand off on a delayed call to Weeks, and Weeks making guys miss, and he might have a first down, but just shy. But man, his ability to wiggle where there's not a lot of room, breaking a lot of tackles today. 3rd and only a yard. You could see them go for it here. go for the big play knowing you're going to go for it on 4th down.
Yeah.
See what they do. They send Tucker and Tarini to the right side. Not a lot of spread sets since that opening drive. It's been a lot of double tight looks. They give on the sweep to Weeks. Weeks gets inside the 40, 35, and he will continue to break tackles down to the 29-yard line. That is just a fun style of running to watch. We talked about it a lot with Shola, how he would just continue to find those little creases to get yards, and there's a lot of that in Giovanni Weeks, as he's up over 100 yards for the game already.
And, there are going to be weeks where it's going to be difficult to run the football against some of these fronts that you play in the CCIW. In 2 weeks from now, that might be one of them. It's nice to see the wide receivers really working hard to block, knowing that today's probably not their day to get a ton of work.
Anthony on a play fake across the middle, has Peterson at the 10, 5, touchdown Thunder.
Get a flag on the play.
It's in the backfield. It's going to come back. Paul Fay, the guilty party, but again, just another really good ball from Anthony. Keeps it high to Peterson and lets him continue upfield.
That's a serious weapon right there, the tight end. Oh, I don't know about that call.
Yeah, that's more of a pancake than it is a hole. Wheaton's been spoiled at the tight end position, and in 2019, Burt McJunkin did a nice job of filling that gap when nobody really stepped up early in the year. But this looks to be another Zach Lindquist type threat in Spencer Peterson that will just be a red zone nightmare for defensive coordinators. 1st and 20, 2:35, as Anthony again on the play fake, going to Tucker. Tucker makes the catch at the 20, and he is out of bounds. A nice open field tackle made at the 18-yard line.
Anthony didn't miss that throw that time. That was a perfect ball right at the sticks. Nice job by Tucker.
That's Emily, the safety, who is trailing him. What a ball fake. The the play side defensive end is chasing the running back into the near side. So 1st and 10 with 2:20 to go, as the Thunder are kind of in between with their tempo here. They do have all 3 timeouts if they choose to try to get the ball back. Play fake again for Anthony. It goes to Peterson in the flat. Peterson's spinning. He's going to be close to a 1st down, a gain of 9. Lumbering, spinning,
little
Spencer
pitch
Peterson.
right here. Just throwing a dart.
Block and release there.
Nice play.
Coach Shower's been working on him on his post moves there. That's where that came from. Little drop step spin move. 2nd and 1 from the 8 inside of 2 minutes left. Into the flat and broken up, and that's an incomplete pass. There's going to be some question there if that was going to be a forward pass or not. Fortunately ruled immediately incomplete. Otherwise, that might have been Northwestern getting themselves on the scoreboard.
Yeah, that's right. Kalinsky's been very active at the outside linebacker position. He's been in the backfield. He's made a couple nice plays getting around Hibben. Again, coming off the edge and getting his hands up. That's a nice play. 4th and 3rd and short.
Third and a yard. They have powered ahead in this scenario so far today, and they go out of the gun with Singleton. Minute 37. Singleton into the flat left. They will throw it out to 26. Stutter step. And boy, that's one where you just got to get
the first down.
You only need a yard. Just take the dirty yardage and move the chains. It's going to be 4th and less than a yard. We'll see if Wheaton goes hurry up again.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Well, it's a good practice for a kicking unit that's been pretty good so far.
Yeah, I think when you're Singleton there, you're looking to find the end zone there and forgetting that you can pick up the 1st down.
Yeah, he had room just to get to probably wouldn't have got past the 5-yard line, but that keeps the offense on the field. So Gallagher for the field goal, out of the hold of Bickle, off the left upright, and swatted down. No good.
Well, I think that's right, Rusty. That was you'd like to see them get some work, so you'd like to have that be a confidence builder as you're working in a new kicker here. The operation was clean, well protected, good snap, good hold.
So it'll be in 57 seconds, only 2 timeouts for the Eagles. And again, you're already down 28. If you're Northwestern, this is a good opportunity to kick the offense up into up-tempo, get a free look at yourself here.
I got to I'd be shocked if they did anything other than hand the ball off right here.
Yeah, I would fully expect them to hand the ball off 2 times and head to halftime. Again, stay with us at halftime. We're going to have the halftime ceremony for Coach Swider's Hall of Fame induction. Handoff is to James, stacked up in the line and brought down by Dallas McCray.
Number 23, Keegan James on the carry.
Given the field position, Jesse would have had the opportunity to call timeouts there if he wanted to, but he's just content to let this clock run to halftime. Pretty good first half for the Thunder, as this can be the last snap of the half if they want it to be for the Eagles. They can run it down to about 8 seconds left if they choose, but there's really no need to milk the seconds more than they need to. Expect this to be another handoff and then turn around and head underneath McCauley Stadium. Motion comes in from Sieben right to left. And they will turn and give to James again. Gets to the outside, but quickly hauled down by Daniel Herbert. No gain on the play, and that will bring an end to the first half of play.
No gain on the play.
Wheaton 28 points. They don't allow any. The offense scores on all but one drive. The defense puts one in the end zone. And you feel pretty good about that if you're Jesse Scott in your first half of action as the head coach. So we will step aside momentarily here at halftime. Again, stay with us for the Hall of Honor induction ceremony of Coach Swider. And he will then join us in the booth as we move to the second half. You're watching Wheaton football on the Wheaton Thunder Sports Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we would like to make a special presentation. Making their way to the center of the track are Wheaton College President Dr. Philip Wheaton, Wheaton Athletics Director Drew Davis, and retired head football coach Mike Swider. Joining Coach Swider today are members of his family, his wife Nancy, son Justin, and wife Renee, and their 3 sons, daughter Hannah, a Wheaton College senior, and daughter-in-law Katie. Coach Swider's son, Michael Swider Jr., is a member of the football coaching staff at today's game and is unable to join the family on the track. Today, we honor and celebrate Coach Swider and his 35 seasons as a member of the Wheaton coaching staff and formally induct him into the Wheaton Athletics Department's Hall of Honor. Coach Swider announced his retirement as Wheaton's head football coach on December 10th, 2019, after 24 years in charge of the program. Prior to his appointment as head coach in 1996, he served as an assistant coach for 11 years. In his 24 seasons as head coach, Swider compiled a record of 209 wins with only 52 losses. His 80.1% career winning percentage ranks among the top 15 all-time in the history of NCAA Division III and is among the top 35 at any NCAA level. Wheaton appeared in the NCAA Division III playoffs 10 times in Swider's tenure as head coach. The program accumulated 15 postseason victories with 1 semifinal appearance and 4 quarterfinal games. He guided Wheaton to 12 win seasons in both 2003 and 2019, establishing school single-season records for victories in both of those campaigns. His 140 wins in conference play ranks 3rd all-time in CCIW history, and he led Wheaton to 9 CCIW conference championships, a mark that is tied for 2nd most in conference history. Swider was selected as the CCIW Coach of the Year 7 times, the 2nd highest total for one head coach in conference history. Today, Coach Swider officially joins the Wheaton Athletics Hall of Honor, where he joins 25 of his own former players, as well as former head coach J.R. Bishop, who hired Swider as his defensive coordinator in 1985. When it comes to Mike Swider, the results are much more than wins and losses and championships. His impact on students, the athletic department, and the Wheaton College community is what he will best be remembered for. Coach Swider built a program that is regularly recognized as one of the best in Division III, while influencing young men to give themselves to a cause greater than any one individual. He was an outstanding recruiter, motivator, and a coach who loved his players. As a result of his effective leadership and influence, the Mike Swider Head Football Coach Endowment was established to provide additional funds for assistant coach staffing. This endowment contributes to enhanced staffing in full-time assistant coach positions. With over 100 gifts from generous football alumni, we are pleased to announce that in recent weeks, the entire goal in gifts and pledges for the Mike Swider Head Football Coach Endowment has been achieved, $1.7 million. We wish to thank the many generous donors who honored Coach Swider with their gifts. The fund invested with the Wheaton College Endowment has already grown to over $2 million, which will continue providing significant financial support for the football program every year. The Swider Endowment Fund is just one more way that the legacy of Coach Swider will continue to impact Wheaton football. In the coming weeks, Coach Swider will be given a gift honoring his many years of service to Wheaton College and Wheaton Athletics. The gift, a custom-made piece, artistically represents the team themes utilized by Coach Swider each season: living life without regrets, humble and hungry, dare to be great, and more. These will be presented to Coach Swider at a later date. Coach Swider, you are loved and appreciated. Congratulations on a wonderful career with Wheaton football. Thank you, Coach Mike Swider. Fans, a reminder that following today's game, you are all invited to a reception in Coach Swider's honor in Soderquist Plaza, just north of Macaulay Stadium. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time for former head coach Mike Swider.
as I have ever seen. The kind that makes before December like a long lost dream. But today in New York City, there is something in the air. Out from under long black jackets, colors blooming everywhere. And for the first time in a long time, I feel something warm and bright. It's a new day, it's a new life. Feel the wind change, feel the sunlight. And tomorrow's brighter than it's ever been before. Winter came and now it's gone away. It's a new day. Electric to feel something again, to thaw from the cold, felt so permanent. Suddenly I remember the way things used to be. Lives pushing through the ice in shoots and neon green. For the first time in a long time, I feel something warm and bright. It's a new
My name is Julie Davis, and I serve as the athletics director. Most of my time is spent on things related to budget, personnel, or facility development, or my personal favorite, cheering on our Wheaton Thunder sports teams. Right now, we are in the Krauser Sports Complex, one of the busiest buildings on campus. This is where you can come for free and work out in a beautiful weight room, or play pickup basketball or volleyball, or swim a few laps in the pool. The Krauser Complex is the home of King Arena, the competitive venue for varsity volleyball, men's and women's basketball, and wrestling, as well as the Leader House Natatorium, the home of our Thunder swim teams. Wheaton competes as a member of NCAA Division III, and we belong to the College Conference of Illinois and Wisconsin, a 9-member conference which regularly boasts national championships across many sports. The mission of Wheaton Athletics is to develop faith, character, and leadership through competitive athletics. We believe the value of competitive athletics is the personal and spiritual growth that occur as a result of pursuing excellence, of pushing yourself to be your best. At Wheaton, you don't have to settle. Here you can pursue academic and athletic excellence that is intentionally integrated with faith in Christ. We offer 10 varsity sports for women and 11 for men, and there is a blend of recruited and non-recruited students on our teams. If you want something more recreational and less competitive, we offer club sports and intramurals also. One of the best things about Wheaton Athletics is the quality and commitment of the coaching staff. Wheaton coaches are trusted mentors and guides who are driven to help you achieve your spiritual, academic, and athletic goals. If you're serious about your faith and your studies and your sport, you will want to give Wheaton a hard look. Wheaton Athletics is distinct because of how well it combines and excels in all three of those areas: authentic faith, first-rate academics, and high-caliber athletics. If varsity sports are something you may be interested in, I recommend you reach out to a coach and complete the recruit form found on the Varsity Athletics website. See athletics.wheaton.edu for a full list. I hope to see you real soon, either in a Wheaton uniform or using this beautiful facility for your daily workout. Welcome to Wheaton.
Hello, my name is Phil Reichen. I'm the president of Wheaton College, and I love the fact that you are checking out Wheaton College. This could be just the right place for you to grow. Grow in the use of your mind. Grow in the heart that God has given you for the needs of the world. There are a few things that I'd love for you to know about a Wheaton education. It is Christ-centered from beginning to end. There's not one place you can go on our campus, not a classroom, not a student organization, not an athletics field, not a music performance area, not a dining hall, not a dorm room, where Jesus Christ is not known and acknowledged as Lord. This is a place of grace, where students from all different backgrounds and experiences are brought together into one community and learn to love one another in that community. It's a place where people love to see one another succeed and are willing to help you whatever you need. Wheaton College is also an academically rigorous community of a particular kind. We're a liberal arts college, not politically or theologically liberal, but liberal in this sense, that which liberates, which brings freedom. That goes all the way back to the ancient Greeks. We want to give you an opportunity to fall in love with all kinds of different academic subjects as you choose your courses through our Christ at the Core curriculum, as you explore literature and philosophy and the sciences, as you learn sociology and anthropology and political science and just all the different ways of looking at the world, you will see more completely the design that God has for human beings and the potential that we have for doing His kingdom work in the world. And you'll do that under the loving mentorship of our faculty. True expert scholars, in many cases not only nationally known but world-renowned, some of them leading our rich academic centers. They are also people who love to have personal relationships with our students, to welcome you into their homes and into their hearts. For many of our students, this is the place, both spiritually and intellectually, where you can be on a whole campus full of peers and develop your gifts to the very fullest, iron sharpening iron. Our hope for our students is that they will make the difference in the world for Jesus Christ that someone with their gifts and experiences can make. You have only one life to give to Jesus Christ and to His kingdom. Could it be that Wheaton College is an important place on your spiritual journey that will prepare the way for everything that is to follow? That is our hope, and we look forward to the day when we can say to you, welcome to Wheaton.
Welcome back here high above McCully Stadium alongside Tim March. I'm Rusty Lindsay. The Thunder leading the University of Northwestern 28-0 at halftime. A near flawless first half for the Thunder, scoring on all but one possession. The defense adding a touchdown as well. They hold the Eagles to just 42 yards while racking up 281. But we'll get to the first half stats later as we are joined now in the booth following his induction ceremony there that we had at the first part of halftime by former head coach Mike Swider. And Coach, a nice ceremony for you there. A great crowd here to welcome you into the Hall of Honor, but certainly good just to have you back watching football at McCully Stadium.
Well, this is really the first time I've been on campus since I retired a year and a half ago. I sort of intentionally stayed away. It's just not fair. You sort of cast a big shadow, not because of how great you are, but how long you were there. I've said many times it wasn't all the things you did. You just were there so long, you build up a shadow, and it wouldn't have been fair to Jesse or any of the players to be showing up and be a distraction. And so this is the first time I've been down to the field in a year and a half, and first time I've been down the field since we got whooped by St. John's, which about killed me.
Oh, boy.
And but yeah, no, it's been great, and just being out here and just seeing these guys and seeing the roster and seeing how big it is, and it's been fun.
Well, I just want to say on behalf of alums that aren't in the room, we're so thankful for all that you did for us. So many of us, lives were changed by our 4 years at Wheaton, and the football program was the highlight of my time at Wheaton College, and I have you to thank for that. So thanks for all that you did for us.
Well, Tim, it's you realize when you retire that you leave somebody money, all they'll do is spend it. You leave them a reputation, wins and losses, all they'll do is forget it. But what you leave in somebody transcends your life.
Amen.
And I've recognized that since I've graduated, since I retired, is that's what all the phone calls are. It's not about all the great games we had. It's about what you did and who we become. So,
Mike, I'm sure we talked a little bit about it after it happened, but I'm sure there's a tendency to, when you lose a game like the St. John's game, to say, maybe one more run. We've got enough guys coming back, maybe one more run. How hard was that to continue to kind of hold steady to the choice you kind of already made that this was going to be it, and to go ahead and step aside and set somebody else up to have a program ready to go for a national title?
Yeah, I mean, I remember that Saturday night. I made the decision at the beginning of August before training camp, and I had shared it with my family. I didn't share it with anybody else. I didn't want to turn that last season into a farewell tour. So anyhow, we had said it, and then, of course, you lose that way. And I can remember just walking off this field, and, oh, mercy sakes. There's my
future
son-in-law throwing that kid like a rag doll. But anyhow, yeah, I mean, I remember walking off this field, and I'm going, so Lord, this is how it ends, really? This is how you end it for me? And, of course, Mikey, my defensive line coach here, who's my son, who's highly volatile, he comes up and he goes, Dad, I was praying every single day since the beginning of August. I was praying every single day that God would give you a national title in your last year. And he goes, who was I praying to? Where is that God right now? I mean, he was so frustrated. He goes, really? Really, who was I praying to? And so anyhow, but my mature wife steps in, and she gets us all together right here on the field, and she looks around, and she sees Justin too, and we're all just, and she goes, you know what? God just said no. And she looked at my son, Mike. He says, did your dad ever tell you no when you kept asking for something? And she goes, yeah. I said, why did he say no? Because he loved you. And all of a sudden it made more sense. Didn't make it easier, it just made sense. And yeah, and then we were home, we're eating pizza that night, and they got this nickel package in here right now that's just wicked.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, it's Dallas they line up Dallas in a 5 technique there, and it's just sinful. But anyhow, and so we're eating pizza that night, and Mikey goes, Mike, to answer your question, Mikey goes, Dad, they're all back. Every single guy is back. He said, Dad, you should have won it this year. You'll win it for sure that time. And so you're thinking, and it's just turning through you like that. And then I said to myself, who's this? This is the young.
Yeah, Tucker makes a fair catch
Tucker.
there.
I can remember recruiting both those kids out of a little tiny apartment complex just south of Fort Worth. I mean, had nothing. But anyhow, and so I'm sitting in the house there, and I said, you know what? I always preach to all my players. I said, the program's not about any one guy. When you guys graduate, someone steps in. When you build something, build it right. You don't build it on the backs of one guy.
Right. And
I said, the greatest achievement I could ever have would be them win it without me. That, because it would define everything that I preached. If they fall apart, then it's like, well, what you said is meaningless.
Yeah.
So anyhow, to answer your question, Rusty, that's...
Coach, before we hopped on the air here, you were just talking a little bit about what the state of the program, or what Wheaton football was like before you got here.
Oh,
and
wow.
I don't, not to have you toot your own horn, but it's a pretty cool story just to think about where the program was when you got here to where it is today.
Yeah, when I got here, this was a grass field that we practiced on and did a lot of stuff on, and obviously there was no practice field around it here. They had a little tiny high school scoreboard over in that southeast corner over there. They had no big scoreboard there. There's a chain link fence around this thing. This was a wooden press box. And I was making $18,000 a year and the only full-time assistant. That was it. The only full-time assistant making 18 with the head guy. And yeah, I did everything with JR. I mean, we did everything. I was running the strength program, the head recruiter, coordinating the defense, running special teams. You know, you're doing everything. And then you just heard here at halftime, I look out here, we had 60-some players, and so then I just saw here that we have, the endowment now that the alumni have contributed $2 million. So we have
fully funded now.
Fully funded. We have 4 full-time assistants compared to 1.
It's awesome.
When I was playing, or when I first coached, so there's 4 full-timers there. We got a turf field, we got lights, we got the scoreboard, new press box. We got a weight room.
130 kids on the roster.
130 kids on the roster, and it was all done by Wheaton football alums. All that $2 million, the lights, the turf, was all football alums. And now you see 5 full-time coaches, 2 GAs paid for, plus.
It's fantastic.
And so anyhow, yeah, it's really exciting, and I'm happy, and I couldn't be more proud of them.
So tell us a little bit about what you're doing now. I know I talked to you a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
You got a fun fall.
Yeah, this is being retired, Timmy, is this kid is a great punter, man. He is a great punter.
It's a weapon.
Oh, he's an athlete. People don't realize that kid is an athlete. He can throw it. He can run it. I mean, look at him. Yeah. He looks like an athlete. He does. Well, his dad played for me. His dad was.
Oh, is that right? I didn't know that.
Bickle's dad played for me. His dad was a 6'1", 270-pound lineman, and he's a slender, high-hipped punter. But I can be Timmy. I can choose to be as busy as I want, or do nothing.
Yeah.
And if I want to get up at 5 o'clock and just hammer my day out, or I can say I'm sleeping till 8 today. Whatever. But it's I've been really busy. I've decided to oh my gosh.
Nice to have him back.
Herbert with the hunt down there and the flat on a first down completion. And again,
that
side-to-side coverage. He is an animal.
He's a genetic freak. I remember recruiting that kid out of San Juan Capistrano, man. He is a freak. Yeah, he just just stuff like this, though, he texts me at 11 o'clock today, and he goes, Coach, I just want you to know I love you, and I miss you.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that kid is ridiculous. And so anyhow, so I'm helping my son Justin over Wheaton Academy, which has been fun. It's, you go into this thing because you love coaching kids, you like being on the field, scheming, and then, you build this program, and so many other things take up your time, and you get siphoned out of what you're really doing. And oh my gosh, that kid's tough. And so you sort of get siphoned out of what you really love to do. And so now I show up about 45 minutes before practice starts, watch film with my son Justin, get ready for practice, teach him, help him get things ready, coach kids on the field, coach the heck out of them, and then watch film with them afterwards, and then go home and leave all the problems to someone else. I told someone, you know what it's like? Being a grandpa.
There you go.
I said, being a grandpa, you know what? All you get is good.
Yeah.
Being a grandpa, and it's like I say this too. Here comes Herbert. Oh, that kid. Look at it. Oh, no. Now they got him.
Oh, wow. And
they got River, I think.
Yeah,
I think they got River.
Slow to get up there after what's going to be a roughing the passing.
I think they got it on River.
But yeah, Grandpa just wind him up and send him home.
Yeah. Well, it's yeah, they're getting on him too.
Yeah, that'll be River.
Oh, I don't. Let's see it. Let's see. Take a look at it. Can we replay it?
River just coming from behind him and just got a piece of him.
Pushed him from the back.
Yep. Yeah, you're going to see him come from the high side. Herbert breaks down, tries to swat this one down, but Schindeldecker breaks free. Just a little.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he could have come off.
Yeah.
So anyhow, yeah, it's like I said, being a grandpa, it's amazing. I said it's the only thing you do in life that's not overrated. You become a head coach. It's great, but there's some hard times.
Yeah.
You become a father. Yeah. It's great, but there's some tough times.
Sure.
You get married. It's great, but they're hard. You become a grandpa. There ain't no hard times.
I love it. That's so great.
That's what it's like coaching with my son.
I love it. That's great.
There are no hard times. I get all the good. Yeah. No, that's been great. I'm doing some speaking and
That's awesome.
motivational stuff, and I threw out the first pitch of the Padres game.
There we go.
So, yeah, I'm working my way around.
It was fun watching the ceremony at halftime and seeing Justin with the grandkids out there. It reminded me back to when I would do those morning, or I guess the outdoor workouts, and you'd have your sons running the mile with us, and then they'd go up in the bleachers and eat donuts while we're working out.
Yeah.
There's Schwartz plugging the hole on the run, and the run game continues to move backwards for the Eagles. And Mike, we certainly don't want to let you go without getting the word out of the upcoming ceremony over homecoming weekend. So let me give you a chance to plug that, because we certainly don't want to let this opportunity go to waste without getting word out to the alumni about that night.
Yeah. You know, it's going to be awesome. It really is. It's an event for alumni, and it's being put on by alumni. And you know, it's one of those things. I really want to get the word out there for everybody, and the reason being, it's not about me. Oh my gosh, look at how fast Schwartz comes.
Oh, great!
I mean, he comes so hard. So anyhow, it's not about me. It's about the last thing that can happen is some young man hears about this thing, and you know what? They never heard about it, and they heard about it in retrospect. And so I was telling someone it'd be like going to a football banquet and I forget to call a guy's name out.
Yeah.
So
all football alums can understand that reference.
So October 9th, I think it's October 9th.
That's right.
Is that homecoming?
Yep.
Yeah, October 9th.
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. It's at Aquascapes in St. Charles. Chad Thorson, just get a hold of him, RSVP Chad, and get there. Any alum, get there, man. Just let them know and get there, and it's going to be a great time, and it's just going to be a ton of fun.
I can't tell you how excited I am. I know just from my class alone, we've got probably at least 10 guys coming in from all over the country. I'm sure that's the case with all guys from 1995 all the way on. You got a ton of guys that want to come and honor you and just connect. It's fun to see everybody and talk about how people are loving on their wives and their kids and how they're involved in their church and what they're doing with their lives. It's gonna be a great time.
Yeah, and it'll be like I said, it'll be even the guys there'll be a ton of guys there that when I was an assistant here in '85.
Yeah.
And look at that kid run, And so no, it'll be. They had Eric Grupner, who played for me in the mid '90s, is the CEO of president CEO of the Padres, and I was out there speaking. That's when I threw that first pitch out, and he had a little thing for me out in Southern California for all the Southern California alums. And so I don't know, maybe 20, 25 guys showed up. One guy graduated in 1986, and the other guy had graduated in 2019. And they were hugging each other like they were best buddies.
I love it.
And I saw that. I stepped back, and it was what you were saying. I saw these guys just talking, and I stepped back.
There we go.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a second penalty on Spencer. So I step back, and you see this, and you go, that's why. It's all those things you said. That's why you did it. See these guys hugging, talking, and interacting as if they were playing together. And I can't wait to see that over a span of 35 years. Yeah, so it'll be fun. Make sure that word gets out. Absolutely.
Yeah, Mike, we kind of talked after your announcement. When we sat down to record that interview. You know, you kind of mentioned before we ever started recording that, you know, the calls and the texts had kind of been nonstop, and this will be a great opportunity to kind of bring all that to one place.
Yeah,
and
no doubt.
Really a celebration of Wheaton football and what this program has built off the field. More than what it has on, and it'll just be a great opportunity for alums to come together and have a great night. And it's homecoming, so why not?
Oh, it'll be awesome. And like I said, the thing is, you know, when you get together, and Timmy knows that. You know, Timmy obviously was a great player for us, a corner and returner and everything.
There we go. Oh,
you gotta get that ball up a little bit, ball a little down. But yeah, I mean, it's now they got to punt it, right? Is this third down?
This will be third down here. Yep.
But yeah, I mean it's so anyhow, like I was saying, so Tim obviously was a starter, but here's what happens: they get together. Nobody talks about who are the starters. Like those 10 guys are coming back. You're not going to talk about. You know what? You're going to say two things: we were teammates and we were good.
Mm-hmm.
We were good and we were teammates, and that's what it was. Us. It was about us.
You get us around those other classes, though, and you get a little bit of, yeah, we were a better class.
Oh, they were already yapping. They were yapping in Southern California about that. 4 verts. Here they are, 4 verts.
Luke scrambling to his left, pressure coming all around him, and he will throw it down way shy of
Penalty.
Wheats.
Or we got a flag on the top. Not sure what that's about.
Yeah, that's back behind the line of scrimmage. It looks like maybe
Ineligible man
an illegal
downfield.
guy downfield.
But you run that 4 verts out of a trips formation, and you got the opposite. The third guy in trips has got to get to this hash mark. The second guy runs up the hash, and the other 2 guys run up the bottom of the numbers. But it takes time. It's a throw that takes time, but it's a good 3rd and 12 call. But you gotta protect. And when you're sending 4 wideouts out, you only got 5 or 6 guys left. So.
Well, Mike, in the meantime, prior to that, how can people connect with you and one more time kind of give a way that they can RSVP to that event or get more information?
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest thing is Chad Thorson is the guy to reach out to and or you can reach out to Timmy March here too.
Yeah, sure.
And make sure that, or anybody in your class.
Yeah.
See, there's someone in your class is going to know.
Absolutely.
So start with your class. Find out from the guys in your class.
There we go.
Look at that punt. Look at that.
That's going to step
Look at that.
One, and it's going to be
down
at the half-yard line.
Punt.
Riley Schwartz downs it inside the 1-yard line, and Legatron strikes again.
Look at that.
John
punt.
Bickle last year put 9 punts inside the 5-yard line. He put 16 inside the 10, and he's put both of them today inside the 10.
Great job.
Yeah,
by
but
the
that
gunner
ball,
there.
sometimes they put them inside the 10 when you punt from the 35.
Yeah.
This kid put inside, where were they punting from? The 50.
Yeah, and a great job by Schwartz to reestablish his feet off the goal line to allow himself to legally down that ball.
And it didn't roll. See, sometimes you down 2 when they're rolling. That ball dropped and bounced one time.
I think the defense here, they got a shot they're up what is it, 7-0 on the opposing offense? They can add to that right here.
They're going to say
bringing it back.
Schwartz stepped into the end zone.
Take a look at that, Rusty.
Yeah, stepped into the end zone, and then he was the first one to touch it. So
he did go in the end zone?
He did go tiptoed into just across the chalk, yep. So a tough break there for both Bickle and the Thunder. As you're going to see it one more time here. Watch number 1. The feet are just going to cross over right there.
Oh, yeah.
Right there. Great camera work by our Sunrise
and he stepped
crew
back.
there.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it was great camera work. Unfortunately. The camera work was too good. Yeah. I mean, come on. What are you?
Yeah,
you ain't going to run the ball. When are you going to figure it out? You're not going to run the ball. That's Jeremiah State, and he played at Wheaton Academy last year. I saw him training all summer when I was over there coaching Wheaton Academy. And I every time I'd walk by him and he was training, I would be leaving the field. He'd be coming on the field. I said, they call him Boogie. I said, Boogie, you better look out, buddy. I said, Boogie, they're coming. They're coming after you, Boogie. You know, you just better look out. But, I mean, they're not going to run the ball. They didn't run any ball on these guys last year when they were a year younger. Well, 2 years younger. What makes you think you're going to run the ball on them now?
Mike, you obviously haven't had, with the loss of the season last year, haven't had a chance to really sit down and watch a Wheaton game. You've probably watched plenty of games on TV, and you've been coaching at Academy. But what are the emotions like just to watch the team that you were with for so long?
There were mixed emotions. There really were to start with, and then you sort of get used to it. Now the pride, it's like you guys. There's pride. A good pride. Is a pride in this and these guys and these players. But when I first walked here, I mean, it just hit me that this part of my life was over.
We'll check back in 2 weeks. We'll see how he's doing.
It's a little different when there's another team on the other side of the field.
Yeah.
6 o'clock. 2 Saturdays from now.
Oh, man. Oh, no.
Almost picked off by Braden Anthony. Might have been the second defensive score of the day.
They pumped him up inside again.
Ryan Schwartz coming up there. Excuse me, that's Wyatt Lee coming untouched up the middle.
Wyatt Lee. I'll tell you a story about Wyatt Lee. Wyatt Lee is shredded. First of all, that guy, he's tighter than a drum. So anyhow, I'm recruiting him out of Lawrence College. He led the country in tackles his sophomore year, like 20-some tackles a game. I mean,
unbelievable.
He's all over. He's running all over the field. And so he comes in here and he's good, and we're fitting him in the system, and we play our opener at Monmouth. And he has like 6 tackles. And he comes up to me and he goes, Mikey, come on, baby. Oh,
There we
Mikey's
go.
going to go.
There we
Mikey's going to go wild. You know why?
Nice
Mikey's
return
he's the return coach. So
All right.
look at him here.
There we go.
Attaboy. He's just happy he didn't fumble it.
nice
Look at him.
return by Matt Tucker to the 43.
Yeah. So anyhow, so he goes, Coach, I only made. I'm so sorry, Coach. And I looked at him.
This is a shutout. At
I said,
Monmouth.
I said, listen, son, you got 10 other players. I said, you're not the only guy on the field. I said, you don't have to do everything. You got a gap to fill and an area to cover. There's 10 other guys, and you know what? They're just as good as you are.
Great.
They're just as good as you are.
Just do your
You
job.
did great. You did
Exactly.
great. And he started to figure it out. But he literally gave up to me, and he was so
There we go.
Well, that's
he
another
was
strong run of the
so
week.
upset. It was comical. It was almost comical.
Yeah, I think that was a game where the defense held almost maybe 100 yards or less. Defense was pretty had 2 scores that day.
Yeah.
Defense did its job and then some.
Yeah, Corey Kennedy picked one and housed it.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, again, congratulations on the great career. This was fun to watch. All the alums in the stands and their reaction at halftime, and they get a chance to honor you over in the plaza afterwards.
Oh yeah.
And man, we're looking.
Diet Mountain Dew on me. It's on me. Diet Mountain Dew. They asked me what I wanted. Julie calls me up. Is this Jeremiah?
Jeremiah on the
There,
Wildcat.
Looking good.
Whoa!
Oh, there we go.
It's touchdown saving
Yeah,
tackle.
that kid he and his brother. Like I said, I recruited those kids out of a tiny little apartment just south of Fort Worth. And I see those 2 kids here. Personal foul for slinging them down, probably.
No. Somebody said something after the play. That's
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
both on Wheaton. Got 2 personal foul calls unsportsmanlike against Wheaton.
Do anybody know what they were?
I'm guessing it's Keon Walters is coming to the game, so I'm guessing that it's a lineman.
Oh,
Taking Faye out, right?
Yeah.
Well, Faye's he's like his dad was. I coached his father too. You know, and he can get a little hot under the collar. His dad was his dad was like 6'6", 290, and he's about 6'4", about 310. And
Nice having guys like that on the line.
Yeah, with his dad in the house, I didn't know he got any food. You know, amazing his dad shared any with him. But yeah, Big John Fay, he played back there in the early '90s. Well, he played with Bickle's dad.
Oh, okay.
They were both offensive linemen together. Yeah, they were both. And you know who else? Elijah Nitz, his dad. There's Elijah Nitz, Bickle, and Fay, all linemen whose dads all were linemen and played together 30 years prior.
Mike, does that get a little odd when you sit down in a living room with someone? It's Peterson wide open up the sideline and powers his way to the. That's got to be a little fun when you sit in a living room and say, "Listen, here's what your dad did for me. Why don't you go ahead and
You're a
do
better
the same?"
player than your dad.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, that was Spencer.
Spencer Peterson powers his way into the end zone on the wheel route. Had a touchdown taken back by a penalty earlier, but he gets that one to the house, and the Wheaton offense is back in the end zone. And
yeah, but it's just so fun. Like I said, seeing those guys with their dads and having recruited fathers and sons, and it makes you realize why you did what you did, man.
Well, Mike, congratulations again.
Thank you so much.
This
yeah.
has been great having you up here, and I know the alums are excited and can't wait for October 9th to roll around.
Oh, it'll be great. Like I said, we got to get it out there, and I got to get my son. You guys can tell Jesse to get it on, Wheaton football Facebook or Instagram or something. And
Sure.
Yeah, and Doug Rothschild texted me to make sure to let them know. cthorson1006@gmail.com. That's your RSVP.
Did Doug just call India?
Doug hit the request hotline here. cthorson1006@gmail.com.
Hey, Roth, way to go, buddy. Roth, that a boy, man. Your old coach is up here. I remember yelling at you a long time ago.
Well, yeah, we'll continue to plug that event, Mike. Thanks again for taking the time
you
to
bet.
come up.
Great to be here, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks, Timmy.
You bet.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rusty.
Always.
You bet.
Always. Joined up here in the booth as we start the third quarter with former head football coach Mike Swider, who was inducted into the Wheaton Athletics Hall of Honor at halftime today. And just a great event to watch down there on the track. Standing ovation and a ton of alums.
Yeah, kind of hard to go anywhere from there, guys. I mean, that's the highlight right there.
Yeah, got to see a touchdown. Got to give Roth a hard time, which we always enjoy doing up here. So our thanks to Mike for joining us, as he sure has plenty of other people to see today. This one's going to drop James back into the end zone. Looking around the conference, Franklin was leading Illinois Wesleyan 21-14. They have tied that game up at 21 down in Bloomington. So the Titans, with high expectations coming into the year, find themselves in a dogfight with the Grizzlies. And Franklin is one of those programs historically that can make that jump every few years. I mean, you look back at that 2008 run through Franklin. That was a heck of a football team over there.
Yeah.
And they knocked a pretty good North Central team out of the playoffs a couple years after that. That is a program with some tradition. And the Grizzlies are giving the Titans a good game down in Bloomington. We'll get you elsewhere around the conference here in a little bit. 1st and 10. Here's a reverse, and it's fumbled. And it's going to be wrapped up immediately by Braden Anthony. As we take you around the conference, Whitewater 41-0 at halftime against Carthage. Wash U trailing Chicago 24-14. Wash U, another one of those teams that named a new head coach that we've never gotten to see, and making their debut, trailing the Maroons by 10. Milliken and Greenville, we have lost the live stats too. Last score we had was 20-14 Greenville. Augustana was up big over Rhodes. They've ended up closing that one out 31-21 on the road. That's a good start for the Vikings, as that's a program that looks to reestablish its tradition. Back to passes, Flanagan flushed out of the pocket, going to be chased down by Skakovac. He will escape, gets back to the original line of scrimmage, and Shafley will run him out of bounds. But a nice run. It's the first time we've seen Flanagan take off. He is not a real mobile quarterback. Has had negative rushing yards in each of the last 2 seasons, which a lot of quarterbacks do because of the sack rules and how those are statted. But he does a nice job to get back into 3rd and manageable at 3rd and 8.
You know, it's I got to recompose myself after you spend 15 minutes with the coach and you're all fired up.
Yeah, we're lucky that the glass is still in front of us here in the booth, ready to run through it. Anytime you get a chance to sit down and have a talk with Coach Swider. 3rd and 8 from the 27. And they will bring pressure again. Rolling to his right is Flanagan. Dumps into the flat. It's complete. Going to have enough for the first down, and brought down at the 39-yard line. That's to tight end Isaac Lowe, who's had a nice day receiving. And Doug pointing out that Johannick's dad, another one of those who was on that same offensive line group. This is a second-generation offensive line in a lot of ways for the Thunder.
Yeah, this is kind of fun to see here too. You get guys. We got second string. We got the backups in it across the in the front 7 here. We got the 4 starters in the secondary, but those are all White Lee in there. We've got Schwartz is now out, and so is Herber. So we're starting to see some of the second teamers make their way onto the field.
Yeah, you will likely see. I would expect the secondary to be the last group that sends in the second unit, because that's a group that needs to continue to get reps together. Fielding Davis in the middle at the linebacker spot. They hand it off again, and breaking through the line of scrimmage is Keegan James, and he will work his way up just shy of the 45 to the 44. Starting to see Ferlito, who we mentioned earlier. Braden Anthony's still in there. Robert Briones on the line. We mentioned Skakovac, Dimitri Skakovac, who's a transfer from Division I Butler. And he was the one who chased out the quarterback on that long run. And then Braden Anthony, the other defensive end. You got Virgil Cannon, the outside linebacker, with Lee and Davis, and in the starting corners and safeties in the backfield. On 2nd and 6, as Flanagan and company just trying to get something going, find a way to get on the board here, trailing 35-0. Inside 3 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. Safety walking down is Grodelution. Flanagan looking right in that seam, and he throws a dart completed to Caleb Sieben. And Sieben, boy, they recognized that Grodelution was walking down, and he filled that hole perfectly, and that's a dart from Flanagan.
Real nice throw there. A bit problematic on the angle there. You'd like to see that play made by the safety, either break that up or at least make the tackle. But we've seen that a couple times. They've done a nice job on play action, the Eagles have, of finding that slot receiver or that tight end running down the seam.
That's going to put Flanagan over 100 yards passing today. 1st and 10 at the Wheaton 36. This is as far as the Eagles have progressed on a drive today. Play fake. Flanagan back to pass. Pressure coming in his face, and he oversails his target. The feet got a little choppy. He's been hit a lot back there. And I think he expected the rush to get home, and it never got to him, and it sailed high over the middle. He was throwing into 1 white shirt surrounded by 4 orange ones, so I'm not sure there was a high chance for success in the completion, but the Eagles still trying to find their footing. Again, this is another first-year offense. Boomer Repke, the offensive coordinator for the Eagles and quarterbacks coach, trying to dial up something that can take the Eagles into the end zone here. Wheaton's defense, which led the country in scoring last year, trying to hold strong. They give to James, and he is met hard at the line of scrimmage. No gain. Sandwiched by Briones.
This is always when you're coming in as the second string guy, you have a lot of pride as well. And I know when you come into a game and it's 35-0 and there's a minute or 2 minutes left in the third quarter and you got a quarter to hold out that shutout, it's a big deal. You want to play for those starters that just spent 3 quarters shutting down the other offense. So, but you don't get the same amount of reps as those starters do. So this is a great opportunity for them to learn some schemes and be physical and have an opportunity to make some plays.
Milliken and Greenville tied at 27 as we look into that game.
How about Aurora St. John's? You got a score on that one?
Yeah, let's take a look at that one. Aurora, it's early in the second half. Aurora scored late in the first half. They've scored 20 unanswered to lead 20-14. And again, Whitewater all over Carthage, 41-0.
That's an interesting one. I feel like a Whitewater team with a couple extra classes coming off a national championship game appearance for the first time in a while. Tough to imagine they're not the team to beat either.
Yeah, that's a team that thinks that they can
quarterback's back, right?
Return that program to the promised land after making a Stag Bowl appearance. Also, top 25, Bethel, 35-7 in the third quarter at North Park. And UW River Falls leading 17-7 over Elmhurst at halftime. Again, Elmhurst, a program that's looking to continue to take steps back.
What an interesting program, Elmhurst. They've high highs and low lows. I mean, a semifinal appearance, a Ghilardi winner, but then sometimes they might not win a conference game.
Yeah, there is a lot of question marks around the CCIW as programs try to. A lot of personnel moves have been made, head coaching changes that we haven't seen yet, Wheaton being one of those. I mean, we've obviously seen the talent that Wheaton has coming back. North Central has that talent coming off a national championship in 2019. And then we kind of have to sort out who the rest of the conference is, as this will be Flanagan on play fake, and he is in trouble. And he just throws this one away to safety as Wheaton brought the house, and he turned around to find a wall of orange jerseys in his face, led by Braden Anthony. Braden Anthony has had a really strong game in his first career start today.
Yeah, he's earned it. I mean, he was a guy that came in. He followed his brother to Dayton and transferred in with Luke and paid his dues. He played behind River and O'Connell the last 2 years, and he's earned a spot. And he's come to play. He's always been a good athlete. I remember watching him at Wheaton North. He's a big, strong, physical kid.
As Northwestern lines up for 4th and 10, Wash U scores to make it a 3-point game, 24-21. And then Wheaton will bring pressure again. Flanagan across the middle, and it is broken up by Virgil Cannon. A terrific diving play for a pass intended for the tight end Isaac Lowe. And the Wheaton defense holds on as Cannon makes a very athletic play, chasing the tight end across the field.
It's a great job. That's why you bring pressure. They did have a tight end running free across on a dig there, but Flanagan didn't have time to see him.
So we will see Jeremiah Tucker take over the reins of the Wheaton offense. You see McNeil Stout, the inside receiver, Terrell Brown on the outside. Sam Singleton is in the backfield. We'll have to check to see the runner and the wide receiver in the middle of that trip set here.
If you hear some yelling and you're coming through, that's Swider in the press box yucking it up with everybody else.
Pass is complete from Tucker to McNeil Stout. That other receiver in that trip set was Tyler Gautier. This is a wide receiver group that has a lot of talent that's just been buried by a lot more talent. I mean, there's a lot of talented wide receivers, but they've been playing behind Tarini and Nichols and a lot of very athletically gifted wide receivers. So there's going to be reps to be had in these 4 wide sets as Wheaton tries to sort out that position. 2nd and 5 from the 41 for Tucker as he waits out of the gun. 40 seconds left in the third quarter. 4-man rush for the Eagles, and Tucker will roll to his right, delivers to Singleton out of the backfield, and he's got a first down. Jeremiah Tucker is a tremendously talented quarterback and just brings a very different element.
It'll be interesting to see when this goes back a couple of years, but when you got a guy who's as shifty and he throws a great ball, it reminds me a lot of when we had Johnny Peltz playing quarterback and Andrew Bowers, who was statistically even better than Johnny, They used to run that. They'd get Bowers in the slot, play him at receiver. I wonder if we'll see some of that here too, getting both quarterbacks on the field.
Well, we've seen it once today. The
Right.
reverse pass kind of got blown up, but there's certainly some wrinkles there to be had as they hand this one off to Singleton. Cuts
Nice
it back
cut.
against the green, cuts back one more time. Now he's to the outside, running inside the 35, spinning to the 30 and the 28-yard line. That big play has been coming. They've had a number of plays that have been stopped in the 8 to 12-yard range, and a nice run by Singleton to bring the third quarter to a close.
There we go. Solid job by the second team. Well, some of the second team offensive line in there.
Looking around the country, Mount Union all over Westminster, 48-7 in a top 25 matchup. That's Mount Union on the road. We mentioned Whitewater has now added a safety, 43-0 over Carthage. Aurora leading St. John's 20-14. We have final Salisbury over Albright, 56-14. Oshkosh scores late. They hold off Huntingdon 28-24 on the road down in Alabama. Washington and Jefferson leading John Carroll 21-14 late in the fourth quarter in another top 25 matchup. Number 12 Delaware Valley 57-6 over Kane. Muhlenberg blanks TC&J 41-0. Central, the Dutch who we saw in the second round, 33-7 over St. Olaf in the third quarter. Union up big as number 15. We mentioned Bethel all over North Park. Randolph-Macon up 10 on Dickinson. As they head to the fourth quarter, we'll see Monmouth and Wartburg. That'll be a really good, it's traditionally been a good non-conference series. That will be tonight. And then Chapman and Brockport already posting wins in the top 25 as well.
You know, as you go around the nation, just thinking of some of the teams that you listed off, I really enjoyed that Monmouth series that Wheaton had. That's a great open, kind of like Wheaton always used to scrimmage Wabash. That was such a great test, two good programs. Be nice to get that coming, get a top 25 caliber program in
Tucker
here.
finds McNeil. Stout open at the 5. Touchdown, Thunder! McNeil Stout with his first career touchdown.
Look like Nichols.
Number 11 into the end zone, a sight Wheaton fans have seen a lot.
Great ball.
Yeah, Wheaton has an embarrassment of riches at those top two quarterback spots between Anthony and Jeremiah Tucker would be a starter for probably 90% of the teams in the country. But you see the talent. Banged up at the end of last year, missed the playoff run, but you see the talent. 41-0 the lead, pending the extra point here by Gallagher. It is good. 42-0 lead for the Thunder. So a very, very good start today for the Thunder as they go up to start the fourth quarter here. Look at the team stats in this game. Wheaton with 226 yards on the ground. They're averaging 8.1 yards per carry. They've held the Eagles to 5 yards on 19 rushes. 14 of 23 through the air are the Thunder for 187 yards. Flanagan's 9 of 21 for 84 yards. 89 total yards for the Eagles, 413 for the Thunder.
This is be interesting to get some feedback from the players here where it's great to come out and play and get back out for first time in a long time and do what you're supposed to do, but now you got to take a week off. You get that bye week early and a 2-week prep for the biggest game of the season for you. It's kind of a interesting start to the season.
Yeah, I think we've talked a number of times that you'd love to just see that rivalry week element to that Wheaton North Central game where it's kind of the last game of the year. So often in the last decade, the conference race has come down to those two teams that you'd love to see that decided in week 10 as opposed to week 3.
Yeah, to that point, I know in, the early 2000s, it was Wheaton and Augie were kind of those teams. And it was week 10, or I guess week 11. It was week 11 almost every year. There were conference championships decided on the last week of the season, I think.
And some on the last play of the season.
Yeah, I think every year that I was at Wheaton, it was something like that. And similarly, North Central, to give them credit, has not lost to a CCIW team other than Wheaton in 10 years.
In the regular season. First and 10, and Flanagan flush from the pocket, throws incomplete to the sideline as he was chased out. Yeah, these two programs, obviously North Central breaking through with just the transcendent talent they had at quarterback. Breaking through to win the national title in 2019. They have kind of made that step to join the Purple Powers. Wheaton looks. I mean, you got to accomplish that step. You got that St. John's game might have been the announcement they needed to make to announce that they were there. I mean, it's a big deal when ESPN rolls onto campus to cover a semifinal game. But Wheaton certainly trying to deliver that message today that they are for real. And that's another run stuffed shy of the line of scrimmage. Keegan James going to be driven back a yard.
And I promise this will be the last I mention it, but with Wheaton losing to St. John's last year, one of the things that I always was so excited about was the opportunity that Wheaton would have to host ESPN onto campus and highlight Coach Swider and the program that he's created. Just to have For Christ and His Kingdom put on TV. I thought that would have been really just so cool, and it was such a travesty for him to not get it. But hopefully this year.
Certainly on the table. 3rd and 11 here for the Eagles as Karstensen rolls to the right. Starting to see some of the backups there in the secondary as Flanagan's going to throw this one up for grabs, and it's picked off. The flowing locks of Stephen Watson. He started this game with the special teams tackle, and he's going to add his first career interception.
Great job.
Defensive back out of Kent, Washington.
You're starting to see Flanagan maybe a little bit rattled here. That was just kind of thrown out. He's done a good job of when he's taken a chance, it's been to the sidelines or out of bounds. That one was really just thrown up for grabs.
Yeah, he's thrown some good balls when he's had time, but he has been on the run a lot today. Tucker in the backfield. You're going to see Jack Allen behind him as this is a deep stable of running backs. And these guys got Allen and Kyle Carter guys along with Singleton who got a lot of reps in that second half of the 2019 season, as this will be Allen. Tries to cut it back and does, and he will be brought down shy of the 35. Give him the 37, so a gain of 7 on first down as Wheaton continues to lengthen the roster here. J.D. McKay coming out at tight end now. We've mentioned Johannick. He's in the game as the starting as the center right now. Nicholas Beard, the sophomore out of Grapevine, Texas. He's in at left guard. We'll continue to try to get to those names as we go here. Sam Rogers in at right tackle. Keon Walton, the right guard. And Tucker on a draw as was there. Spins out of trouble. Now he's back, and he's got a seam to run. 30, 25, 20. 15, cuts it back again. Oh, my.
Wow, what a run.
What a run. My goodness.
Love it.
Nowhere to go on the initial play. He bounces away from trouble and takes it to the house.
Man, how elusive, but the power, too, just to run through arm tackles and find the end zone. Great play.
That and the wide receivers kept blocking, gave him room. That'll be a fun one to see on the replay here following the extra point as Gallagher tees this one up. He has missed the one field goal, but he is perfect on PATs. As here comes the replay again, you're going to see him. The draw is well snuffed out here. Really nice play coming into the middle by the freshman Sam Schleybaugh, but then he's chasing him from behind. And that's a freshman getting used to a senior who is a heck of an athlete at quarterback.
This move right here. Whoop. Man.
Yeah, Luke Nenow thought he had him. He had pursued him pretty well for about 20 yards, and then...
That's when, as a defensive coordinator, you're kind of just like, you throw your hands up.
Yeah, that is... that's not a loaf for Lee now, but that's just... that's a lot of pursuit to come up in vain there at the end. 49-0, the lead now for the Thunder as the second-team offense continuing where the starters had left off.
I think you're starting to see, too, just the depth show up here for Wheaton as they really, the first team ran a lot of plays in that first half. No real big plays, just consistent drives down the field. They've been grinding on this Eagles team all day, and I think we're starting to see some fatigue.
James makes the fair catch at the 12. He's stayed pretty disciplined. It's pretty easy as this game kind of lengthens out to want to make a play as a returner, but he has stayed disciplined to the fair catch after that initial opening kickoff where he only got 8 yards on the return and was brought down at the 17.
After just 7 points in the third quarter, the Thunder have scored 2 touchdowns in the first 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. Somewhat surprising.
Ryan Levanchi in the game at corner. Senior out of Frederick, Colorado. At the other corner right now is a junior, a local product, Noah Jones out of Wheaton Academy. We mentioned Watson just had the INT. Jackson Schmidt is the other safety right now. And a change in quarterback as they go into the flat. Cannon's going to make the tackle immediately. Now taking the snaps, Colin Courier, sophomore out of Waconia, Minnesota.
A lot of out-of-state, not metro area Eagle players here, recruiting from all over the state of Minnesota.
Oh, it's something that drills onto your map, Tim, being from Minnesota.
That's right.
A resident local geography expert. 2nd and 9 from the 26 for Courier, who will hand this one off. And he will power forward. There were two guys there. I think there was miscommunication on the motion on who was going to take that handoff. I think it ultimately was given to James, who will get, looks like 2. It'll be 3rd and 7.
It's one thing that you don't really think about as a Wheaton player when you look at the roster and their, coach talks about going down to Texas and recruiting kids, or guys making plays from California and Tennessee and all over the place. Wheaton recruits from all over the place. Northwestern's recruiting against the St. John's and the St. Thomas's, not St. Thomas anymore, but the St. Olaf's. They can recruit against that MIAC. It's tough to. That's a tough spot to recruit against.
Courier rolling to his right. He's going to tuck this one, and he will not get away. Snatched up. The 98, Matthew Bunnell, the transfer from Saddleback College.
Nice. Be interesting to see what role he plays going forward.
Yeah, certainly the staff excited to get him into the program.
After giving up a couple first downs, this second-team defense has done a great job of settling in, making a couple plays, an interception, a stop on 4th down, and now a 3 and out.
Jalen Schaefer, also the linebacker on that package out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, as we continue to talk about that. Andrew Bowers has really done a nice job building a Tennessee footprint in the recruiting scheme. A large number, especially as you put together the 2-deep of people from Tennessee. And there's great athletes and great high school football in Tennessee. And Bowers, being from that area himself, has done a nice job of increasing the Wheaton presence.
Absolutely. It was interesting. I know that we talked about when the list of recruits came out, Rusty, that I can't remember a time like this, but there are more kids in this freshman class from Tennessee than Illinois.
Right. All right, and that's the hand of Andrew Bowers. I think we've got a flag to sort out here. Wheaton's inching near. I don't know how many yards this will cost them ultimately, but they're very close to crossing over 100 yards of penalties.
It's my long-standing thesis, Rusty. The refs have a bias against Wheaton. Nearly every year we have substantially more penalties than the opponent.
Certainly today they have earned it.
That's true.
There has been a lack of discipline in a number of areas. And I know it was the pre-snap penalties in the scrimmage against Olivet Nazarene that were a bit of a bother. Wheaton was 7 of them. But it has been the personal fouls today. I think 3 or 4 personal foul penalties. That one's going to cost them quite a bit in field position. Would have been close to midfield, but now they're going to start back at the 23. And that might be the biggest problem with the week off before North Central, because your biggest growth, coaches will always tell you, your biggest growth comes from your first game to your second. But you have that week off, and now you're itching to go again. And you're trying to scratch that itch in a game that might be the biggest game on the national calendar between 2 top 5 teams under the lights here. That's going to be a difference maker.
Absolutely.
As Tucker's going to turn around and pitch this out to Allen, and Allen's going to get close to the 30 on a nice little misdirect pitch.
It's always impressive to see the second-team guys come in and run their stuff, especially coming out of training camp. Yeah, you might get it. You might get some reps the first week, but once you get to the back half of training camp, you're really kind of settling into who's the 1s and 2s. It's nice to see them get action here and run things crisply.
Really nice block by Elijah Nitz there on the left side at left tackle. Set the edge for that run. 2nd and 4, and this will be Tucker back to pass. Blitz is picked up, takes his time into the flat for the running back, has a first down. Jack Allen maneuvering his way across the 35 to the 37.
Nicely done by Tucker, finding his check down. Nice catch and run, picking up the first down.
Tucker's a guy who throughout his career, because he has great speed, has been in a hurry to get out of the pocket as he goes through his check downs and his routes, but he has done a very nice job, like you said, staying in the pocket, going over his routes, comes all the way back across the field to the check down and gets him a first down. 1st and 10 at the 37. They're showing blitz. It comes and it's picked up. Tucker going to roll to the right side, has time now, and he will wisely throw this one into the sideline. Very nice pursuit from the linebacker who was bringing pressure. That's Brad Kalinsky.
Brad Kalinsky has been all over the field today, that's for sure.
Junior out of Milwaukee. Again, this is not it's the first time that these two teams have met, but Wheaton is no stranger to the UMAC. They're 4-0 all-time against teams from the UMAC. 2 wins against Greenville, 2 wins against Martin Luther College.
Greenville, first touchdown on the turf field at McCauley.
Yeah. Martin Luther, obviously the team that Wheaton beat in the first round in 2019, as Carter had a seam but couldn't get out of the tackle. A nice play coming up by the linebacker, Noah Nightingale, as Northwestern still sticking with its starters at the linebacker spot.
Don't blame them. I mean, that's they don't quite have the depth, especially when you're traveling from Minnesota to here. You might not have brought a whole bunch of guys, and you're looking to get some reps here.
Correction, that was the freshman, 25, Sam Schleybaugh. 25, not 5, making the tackle. 3rd and 8 for the Thunder, counting down towards 9 minutes left. Here in this one, Wheaton has been, aside from the penalties, has been played a very clean game. Well blocked, and one breaking 3, and Tucker's going to make him miss. Tucker now out into the flat, steps forward, and he will be brought down shy of the first down at the 43-yard line. That's one where he's got plenty of time. Maybe let your receivers come back to you a little bit before you take off, because they had, aside from the initial breakthrough, it was well protected.
Nice job there by the Eagles, staying in their base defense. Their defensive end, number 87, Medvika, with a nice inside spin move with the early pressure.
Yeah, now Schleybaugh again pursuing all the way from across the field. He has logged a lot of miles in sideline pursuit here in the second half. Bickle on for the 3rd time today. Both punts have landed inside the 10. And he's going to boom this one. James calls for the fair catch and will make it at the 13. Should note that the one that we thought was the sterling play of the game was brought back on a touchback.
Which is really too bad for Bickle. I mean, that because you're not going to see that in the box score. You're going to see that he kicked that one into the end zone, and he did not.
Right. For box score purposes, that one was kicked all the way across Joe Bean Stadium. But that ball was kissed perfectly at the 1-yard line, and Robbie Schwartz just tiptoed into the end zone before backing up. Or Riley Schwartz, excuse me. Just tiptoed into the end zone before he could down the ball. So this will be Courier and company again from their own 13-yard line. Again, Bickle continues to swing the field. Last year, he punted 50 times. 28 of them ended up inside the 20-yard line. So almost 60% of his punts pin the opponent with a long field. Courier off a play fake going up the rail. He's got good coverage over the top. And Ryan Levanchi was as close as anyone to making that catch. But Levanchi read that route perfectly and was running ahead of the wide receiver for it.
Yeah, that's just a nice job in zone of opening up, getting your eyes inside, and not letting somebody run by you.
St. John's has taken the lead in the middle of the 3rd quarter, 21-20 up in Collegeville, but Aurora has answered back almost immediately, 27-21. Zimbelman has thrown for 267 and 4 touchdowns in that game. Aurora came pretty darn close to pulling off the upset in the playoffs. Can they do it today? Give on the sweep, nowhere to run.
Fantastic pursuit by
Gavin Rowe coming out of the middle of the defense, 95, who is the one that wraps him up. Rowe does a nice job standing up his blocker. Brouillard, and again, we still see a lot of starters on the field for Northwestern as they try to get their reps in. Gavin Rowe did a nice job beating the guard and getting across his face to make the play on the sweep. 3rd and 11 for the Eagles. Here's a good name for Wheaton fans. Trey Madsen, 7 catches, 146 yards, and 2 touchdowns for the Spartans today.
Wow.
That would be the women's basketball coach, Kent Madsen's son, as Courier is going to be dropped all the way back at the 2-yard line.
Man, they got...
That's Jaden Ferlita.
There's no quit in this defensive line. I know Coach Peltz is going to be happy to see these second-tier guys get after the quarterback here. That's a great job, not staying blocked, using your hands, being physical, and getting the quarterback on the ground.
So they will punt from their own end zone. And again, our mystery punter today, number 97. On the 2-deep, KJ Downey was listed as the starter. They do not have a 97 on their roster. Low snap, bounces up to him. Wheaton just checking up for the return. Does a nice job unloading it.
Go get it.
Off the bounce, McNeil Stout from his own 40, and he's going to be brought down.
Tackle.
Good tackle in open field by Rodrigo Mork.
Number 11, McNeil Stout, fielding the punt for the Thunder. They will take over at the Northwestern 36-yard line.
Listening to Coach Swider in here earlier talk about Mikey on the coaching up the receivers or the return men. I know the apple must not fall very far from the tree. Coach Swider coaching up the special teams was always an important part of practice. He was in charge of kick coverage, and I think he yelled harder at those kick coverage guys than he did at anybody on his defense.
Tucker again on a hard count. Short field for the Thunder as they try to spread out that bunch set of wide receivers. Play fake. Tucker on the draw again. Already one long touchdown run. This is going to be a first down inside the 25. Brought down by Nightingale.
So as we get towards the end of the game here, Rusty, kind of not quite sure what the game plan will be in a couple weeks for Wheaton. It's especially offensively. We saw a lot of different formations, a lot of different ideas. It'll be interesting to see how they attack that stout North Central defense.
Right. We kind of talked about that when Illinois Wesleyan was the opponent coming out of that long gap. Is you can put a lot on tape against Monmouth and make the other team prepare for a lot. And Wheaton has done that a little bit. You've mentioned some wrinkles, especially with the Hibben package. So there's certainly a lot to prepare for here. They continue to put stuff on tape as Tucker delivers a nice ball into a small window. That's caught rolling down by Gautier.
I think that's a good point. I think they feel pretty comfortable about that. I think that in short yardage they feel good. I think they feel good about their two tight end stuff.
Second and a yard as Tucker's going to give to Allen, and Allen charging down to the 10-yard line. Yeah, brought down a little shy, but it'll move the chains. And we've got an eagle down. And you know what, Tim, now that we see that, for week one, not a lot of injuries, which has been great to see.
Yeah.
This looks like Nightingale, the starting linebacker for the Eagles, who is down at the 10-yard line. But normally that first game, you see a lot of those guys get rolled up into, and they're hitting ways they're not used to.
Yeah.
But we have not seen that today, thankfully.
No, that's great. Yeah, took the words right out of my mouth on that. Yep.
And I think as hot as camp has been, Jesse Scott talking about how it has been as hot and humid as any camp he can remember as a player or a coach. Boy, it's a perfect day for football today. Temperatures overcast. We don't have to worry about the sun. Temperatures in the mid to high 70s. This is really what you hope for when you get
Absolutely.
It really felt like college football walking into the stadium. A little bit of breeze blowing, just enough to make you feel like fall. You can smell the girls going over there in the BGC parking lot, and a familiar feeling that felt like from long ago came creeping back, and certainly we hope to continue to be the norm.
Absolutely, yeah. That's feels great, I'm sure, for these players to get some normalcy back, be able to play some football. It's tough, I'm sure, to be here for, Wheaton's a great place, but when you want to play some football, I'm sure it's nice to be back out on that field.
Chicago has added to its lead. They lead WashU 31-21. The Maroons trying to send a statement in a bit of a rivalry game. That it's been good to see those two teams continue since WashU moved from the UAA to the CCIW for football only. First and 10 from the 11. They bring pressure. Handoff up the middle to Kyle Carter. And Carter will bulldoze his way to the 8. We mentioned Augustana, 31-21 winner at Rhodes earlier today. Greenville, Milliken has taken the lead 33-30 at Greenville. However, it looks like Greenville is driving. Hard to tell.
Wow.
Boy, just pulled up the video. That is a mud pit down there at Greenville. Greenville with the ball, 3rd and 6, deep in Milliken territory. And this will be just shy of the goal line and just shy of a first down.
McNeil Stout's had a nice game today. He's made a couple nice plays on the punt return. He's got a touchdown receiving. Nice move there on the bubble.
McNeil Stout, the junior out of Nashville, Tennessee.
There you go.
Another one of those Tennessee products. 3rd and a yard as we count down to 4 minutes left in this one. Greenville with a first down there on 3rd and long. So the Panthers trying to take one away from the Big Blue late in the game. Hand off to Carter. Carter fumbling the snap as he fumbled the handoff as he went forward towards the goal line, and he gets control of it just before he gets to contact, and he'll move the chains 1st and goal at the 1. Under center is Tucker, quarterback sneak, and he's into the end zone.
You might be getting a Jeremiah Tucker CCW Player of the Week here.
Two rushing touchdowns.
A passing touchdown.
And a passing touchdown. He's 6 of 7 for 62 yards and a touchdown. He's run 6 times for 76 yards and 2 touchdowns. Gallagher adding the extra point. It is good. 56-0 our score.
Missed that one. I was watching my son catch a touchdown in the
That is one of the fun things with, obviously it's been great to have that turf area over there that the linemen are able to work, and it opens up the field for more skill position workouts, but it's fun to see the kids go over there and play during the game.
They've literally been playing the entire game. I don't think they've watched a single play. Good for them.
Greenville scores with 30 seconds left. And the Panthers have taken the lead over Milliken.
As a reminder that following today's game, you're all invited to a reception in Coach Swider's honor in Silvercrest Plaza just north of McCauley Stadium.
That is a broadcaster's nightmare, what Greenville is wearing today. Dark gray jerseys, dark numbers in black, outlined in dark orange, playing on a muddy field where everything's covered in mud. That is a nightmare.
Man, that field is done.
That'll take a long, long time to recover from. And another fair catch called for by the Eagles. So that would be a huge hit to a Milliken team that had some high hopes. They were picked up a couple of top 25 votes in the preseason poll.
Yeah.
We're feeling pretty good about themselves in Decatur. But the UMAC trying to steal one from the CCW. They're not going to take this one as the Thunder in command 56-0.
Fun to see the coaches still coaching them up here.
St. John's has retaken a lead 28-27 with a minute left in the third quarter of that game. Looks like it's headed to the photo finish that last year's was. Courier going to give straight ahead. This is Keegan James trying to bounce it, breaks out of a tackle, turns the corner, has a first down. That's the longest run of the game, at least for the running backs today.
Yeah, we've got I think the third D line in now. We're starting to get guys that are not on the 2 deep here.
Yeah, Clay Campbell in at corner. Riley Schwartz, who downed that ball earlier, he's in at the other corner. Let's see, the safety is Sam Bell. Also back there, nice to see number 7 back at safety. That is not Corey Kennedy, though. That's Jaden Watson, junior transfer out of Lindenwood. That's Stone Watson's brother, Jaden Watson.
Oh, that's great.
And he comes flying forward to make a tackle as the flags come down. We're going to have to wait and see where the flags are here. Let's see, at linebacker, we've got Philip Lachirko in at linebacker. Also seeing 43, that's Daniel Ibarra. And
47.
Yeah, that's Billy Bevel. 36 is not Eric Stevenson in the middle. That's Blake Irby. Excuse me, Keegan Babbitt, since that's a linebacker. 236 is there on defense. Oh, boy. Well, we just mentioned Jaden Watson, and he's been tossed for targeting. He's going to come in at the end of this play.
It's a tough call.
That is a tough call. The head is down, certainly, but the runner is also low to the ground. So he will miss the next game. He will miss the North Central game.
First half of next game, right?
Second half, it's a full game, I believe.
Wow.
So I believe a first half. Well, you might be right. It might just be the first half. Handoff again to Jeremiah Staten, and he will cross inside the 45. 2.5 minutes to go.
As Coach mentioned, Jeremiah Staten's a Wheaton Academy kid.
So with
South Elgin.
So with Watson out, that's another one of the Tennessee kids. Max Smith checking in at safety now. As Wheaton tries to put the finishing touches on an opening week shutout of Northwestern. 2:05 to go as Courier waits out of the gun. Showing pressure, they will bring motion, and they will give straight ahead. Bouncing to the far side, trying to get to the first down, and does. That's Jeremiah Staten as the Northwestern continues to ride their starting running back here on this drive.
Nice cut. Good patience.
Top 25 battle, Washington and Jefferson goes on the road. Number 19 beating number 11, John Carroll, 21-14. First and 10, clock running, minute 40 to go. Motion again coming as a handoff to Staten. Flags fly, and that runner going to be brought down in the backfield back at the 40. I believe you're going to have an illegal motion penalty against the Eagles. Wheaton will likely decline it and keep the clock running. Illegal formation is the call. Into the third quarter in Collegeville, St. John's 28, Aurora 27. And again, Aurora will head to Naperville next week for the season opener against the reigning national champions in North Central. So a heck of a start to the season for the Spartans. Don Beebe's crew not ducking anybody. 2nd and 13 from the 39. Give again to Staten, and Staten will just put his head down into the wall in front of him. Inside the last minute of play, Jesse Scott's going to win his debut. It's got to be a good feeling for him.
Absolutely. Congratulations to him. You know, he hopped on the D3Football.com podcast this week, and I thought did a great job of representing the program. Pat had a couple pointed questions for him. I thought he did really well. He represented the program well. It's fun to hear Jesse kind of be front and center now, and it was nice to see Mike talk well of him as well. Yeah,
certainly a great ambassador of this program. Fun to see the pride that he has for the team he now coaches, and what might be the last play of the game here. 3rd and 12, 20 seconds left. Give. This will be Keegan James, and he will try to get to the outside, breaks a tackle, gets to the 30. 15 seconds left, clock running. We'll see if Northwestern tries to get a heave to the end zone or not. Not in much of a hurry here, so I think that's going to be the end of the game. That is, Northwestern will be happy with where things stand. And the final score in week 1. A 56-0 victory. As that's the sight that we're going to have to get used to seeing as teams trying to insulate themselves from both other teams and opponents. Just a wave to the other sideline. As Wheaton starts the Jesse Scott era with an emphatic victory over the University of Northwestern.
In the west end zone. It's a little weird.
Yeah, certainly you don't want to keep them on the sides of their locker room. So, A great start for the orange and blue after nearly 2 years off and a fresh start. So the clock hit 0. Tim, you got 48 hours to enjoy it as a player, and then it's time to lock in and spend 2 weeks getting ready for North Central.
Got something going on. Oh,
I'm not sure if they're again. You have another Christian school. I'm not sure if they're going to pray together at the middle of the field or not, but they're just trying to signal another coach that they know on the other side. But certainly a lot to feel good about. And from Wheaton's vantage point, it looks like week 1's always about getting through, getting the win, staying injury free, and it looks like they were able to do that. I mean, this might be as healthy as they've been heading into a second game in a long time.
Yeah. No, I think there's a lot of positives to take away. I think really the only thing you want to clean up there is penalties. I mean, we didn't see much by way of like a substitution error or I mean, really the only thing you can think of are you had a couple penalties on the defense, couple personal fouls, and the missed kick. Other than that, everything went as expected, and I think Wheaton's going to feel pretty good about where they're at.
Worth noting, Greenville finishing off that victory 37-33 over Milliken. So a mixed bag for the CCIW today. Carthage getting blown out at Whitewater. Augustana with a road win. WashU down 10 late at Chicago. Aurora has taken the lead again at St. John's. But certainly for Wheaton, you get a week. You start to prepare for North Central, and you get a chance to see what the Cardinals will have as they start a new era for themselves after Brock Rutter leaves town, and they will probably hoist the banner and get ready for a pretty strong Aurora group. So
yeah, absolutely. And as you think about that North Central team, talk about strength on strength. They got a lot coming back too. They got 3 preseason All-Americans on that offense. They're going to be ready to go. It's going to be interesting to see what happens at the quarterback position. I can't imagine that they're better, but they don't need a whole lot to make that offense go.
No, they don't. They have a ton of talent back. I believe 4 first-team All-Americans for the preseason, led in the backfield by Ethan Greenfield, maybe the best guard in the country, and Sean Moore Clark. Doug's been kind of leading that campaign for a few years.
Which seems like a decade he's been there.
He's been a terrifically talented player. It'll be fun to watch him square off against Dallas and McCray, and then maybe the best wide receiver in the country, in Andrew Kaminsky. So that'll be a lot of fun. That'll be 2 weeks from today here at McCully Stadium, 6 o'clock. Certainly a game that you don't want to miss if you're in the area. You're going to want to come out in what might be the premier game of the D3 football landscape for this season. We're going to ask you to stay with us. We have a recorded interview with Jesse Scott that we weren't able to get to earlier. Had an opportunity to sit down with him earlier this week. So you're going to hear from Jesse Scott as we sign off here from McCully Stadium. Our thanks to our great production crew with Sunrise Communications. I'm Rusty Lindsay. He's Tim March. Again, also our thanks for Coach Swider for joining us up in the booth in the second half. Again, our final score 56-0. This has been Wheaton Thunder football from WTSN. All right, joined here at halftime with head coach Jesse Scott. And Jesse, I know you've been the head coach here for well over a year now, but you finally make it to game day for the first time as a head coach. Take us through a little bit about the emotions of what it's been like, and we'll get to the lost year, but just finally making it to taking the field for the first time as the head coach at your alma mater.
We couldn't be more excited at this point, Rusty. We are chomping at the bit, and to be within 24 hours of kickoff at this point, it's pretty surreal, to be honest with you. As we've gone through the course of the past year and a half, the kind of running joke in the athletic department was that I was the undefeated head coach, and that also came with a less talked about reality that I was winless too. And it's great to finally have an opportunity to play a game that's going to count, and we couldn't be more excited.
Obviously, there was a ton of excitement leading up to the fall of last year that ultimately got put on hold. Take us through the emotion of knowing the talent you had coming back last year and ultimately having that kind of stripped away because of circumstances outside of anybody's control.
I think that last phrase that you used there really set the tone for how we approached nearly everything over the course of the past year and a half, is that this truly was a set of circumstances that was fundamentally outside of our control. And being able to be on the same page as a program that this was in fact the case, this wasn't something that we invited upon ourselves in any way, shape, or form, allowed us to respond and to answer the question of now what. And I remember reaching out to our team on August 12th of 2020, the night that should have been our first night of practice, and challenging them to be ready for tomorrow, this day that's finally here, where we finally get to compete again with the scoreboards on and it matters. And that was a significant challenge at that point in time, but it's been one that our team has embraced at really every juncture over the course of the past year and a half.
How do you go about setting, you're still going through the first time of setting an off-season plan and all that. How do you even go about approaching that, where you just a vast unknown and you don't really know what's coming next? How do you plan for that?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'm so appreciative of the long runway that we've had on a lot of different levels. And if there's one thing that COVID has caused over the course of the past years, it's a high level of fluidity in our schedule and in our planning. And we've learned to adapt and improvise over and over and over and over and over and over again through the course of the past year and a half. And that's been a pretty significant theme. And so our team's cultivated an ability to do that. We've had well-intentioned plans that have been turned upside down. There are things that programmatically we were hoping to do that we didn't get to do, both football specific and non-football specific. And then there have been plenty of other just kind of redeeming characteristics of what we've gotten, what we've been able to do instead, that have been absolutely great for us and far better than we might have anticipated them being in the moment.
You've had some pretty significant buy-in along the way from some guys that have even put their careers on hold, their professional careers on hold, to come back and get their last season of eligibility. What has that process been like, and how have you seen the response to the buy-in from guys who could have moved on with life but want this one last season and one last chance to chase a national title here?
It just absolutely speaks volumes of Wheaton and Wheaton football when you have 60-year seniors, 50-year seniors, grad students who've made the decision to stick around for another year in order to be back and to be ready to compete this fall. About our program. And it's not about any one individual. It's about this desire to be a part of this team that's about excellence on the field and off of it, and just how powerful of an influence that is in the scope of Wheaton football.
What was the energy like in camp, knowing you've spent this time in the wilderness and you finally get that start date, that you've got a target date, you're ready to go? How has camp gone, having that energy, finally being able to be pushed towards a certain time and date?
Yeah, we've talked about this as a coaching staff, and you know that we have a pretty high level of continuity, generally speaking. We've got a high level of continuity in our staff right now from seasons past. And every coach was impressed with just the general sense of conviction for this season, the way our players approach their work, the level of effort. It was an extraordinarily hot and humid training camp. It was more humid than I can ever remember any training camp being in the past, but that was not the theme of camp. The theme of camp was that we had a lot of veteran guys who came out to attack their business on a daily basis, and that set an outstanding tone for the way we engaged in this preseason.
Yeah, and that's got to make it easy for you as a first time going through this into an actual season to be able to make your practice adjustments and know that you have guys out there who have pretty much done everything you're going to ask them to do once, even though it's your first time asking them to do it.
Yeah, no doubt. And again, when the mindset we're going to pursue excellence in everything that we do, when we cross this threshold onto our field, we're about excellence out here. That being something that's embodied by our 5th and 6th year guys in kind of just a really special way is significant in our program. So it's really about the leadership that we have on the team, the realization among our leaders about just how special of an opportunity we have to be back competing this year. And they appreciate it in a way that's different than they have in the past because they didn't have it last year.
Yeah, it's an odd situation when you really look at it, that you guys have had to sit with a pretty poor taste in your mouth now from the last time you came off a football field, but half your team also doesn't know what that experience was like. So how have you seen your guys kind of balance that need to cleanse the palate on the football field when half your team hasn't experienced coming so close to that goal and having it ripped away like that?
I would say that the St. John's loss lingered in our program for a decent amount of the off season going into 2020. But as COVID hit and so many things were just challenged and just normalcy went out the window, I'd say that's been out of people's minds, just in the fact of St. John's. For the most part since then. Our guys are just anxious to compete, and they're excited to be back out on the field. They're ready for the opportunity, and we've placed so much of a point of emphasis on being in this moment right now, being here for this Saturday, taking it one play at a time, one perfect second at a time, that we trust that they're focusing on this for all of the right reasons and not being motivated by something that happened over 2 years ago.
When you kind of think about getting 1 o'clock on Saturday, what do you find yourself probably having to take a moment there on the sideline to realize the position that you find yourself in now, or how do you anticipate those emotions coming with kickoff on Saturday against Northwestern?
That's a good question. So we scrimmaged Olivet Nazarene, last Thursday. So we're 8 days removed from that. And I think a lot of those emotions showed up at Olivet Nazarene, where that we approach that so much like we do a game that is the first of a lot of things. It's the first of our season. For me, it was the first game officially as the head coach of this program, and there's no doubt that there's going to be more of that again tomorrow against Northwestern, but I do think that some of that's out of there. And when I look back to last Thursday, it was just surreal to be in that moment, both in the perspective of what's happened to get to that point, and just kind of how surreal it is to be at the helm of this program that I love so much.
Well, Jesse, thanks for the time. I know we'll get a chance to talk to you after the game. We look forward to talking to you a lot more times as we make our way through this season. So thanks again.
Sounds great. Appreciate it, Rusty.